Oh, I think we're going. I just gotta get to. Sorry, everybody who's watching this right away.
It's still 7:59. We have a minute.
The people who have notifications, man, they're on top of things.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the mics work. It sounds like they do.
Yeah. We can mute that, right, so we don't hear that as feedback?
Yeah, well, I'll get it off in a sec. Oh, I have to. I think the mics work. Text. Yeah, well. Oh, we started right when the draft started. That was good.
Excellent.
Okay, let me make sure I mute that. There you go. Sorry, everybody who's already in there. I'm just making sure I get this all out on social media. Thanks for having notifications on, by the way. That's awesome. I did a test for some of these guys, I think, a night ago, and
yeah,
there were a handful of people who were already in it. You can't fool these guys.
we're just prepping some things, and we will go live here in just a second.
All right, I think we're good. See me a little bit of delay on the video for our end,
Yeah.
but it's kind of just rolling with it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, welcome to PewterReport.com's live streaming video cast here. We're live at One Buccaneer Place. Scott Reynolds from PewterReport.com alongside Trevor Sikkema and Mark Cook will be joining us later and throughout. We've got some time to kill before the Buccaneers pick.
Yeah, we do. I'm hoping it's not too long, but it might be even longer than the scheduled pick if they end up trading back. So
yeah, there's no doubt about it. So we want to interact with you guys. We have two platforms that are preferred. We have the red board on PewterReport.com. I just posted a thread that says, submit your questions here for PR's live streaming videocast Thursday,
Oh, okay, good.
April 27th.
Good stuff.
And we also take them on our Twitter feed at Pewter Report. So, going to be a while before the Buccaneers pick, but the cool thing is we're here to talk not just about the Buccaneers, but about the entire draft. And we're going to keep a little scorecard, Trevor, on how we fared with our mock drafts.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we posted this morning.
Oh, no.
On PewterReport.com.
If Christian McCaffrey goes number 2, I'm in the clear. I win. That's like, it's like March Madness.
That's
like
true,
if you get the early people,
yeah,
you're gonna be all right. But if they don't take McCaffrey, might be tanking early.
And I think I even said that at some point on the radio or whatever. I would not be surprised, like if that came to pass, because you're talking about John Lynch, being a Stanford guy, and the versatility of Christian McCaffrey and what he can do from a return game standpoint, helping out whoever that quarterback is going to be in San Francisco, not just this year but in the future, as a pass catcher, as a running back, and you got a little bit of hometown flavor there, being from Stanford too.
Yeah. I see the man bun hate, guys. I see that in the chat room, and I'm just going to let you know. It's going to be a long weekend. You just better get used to it because it's here to stay.
PR's come a long ways from the newspaper magazine days.
Yeah.
You're damn right. Yeah. This is pretty cool. This is something new that we're doing, and we really want to have an interactive draft experience with you guys. And, hit a lot of platforms. Obviously, PewterReport.com. You'll read our stories later and our analysis on the draft picks. But more importantly, we love the live aspect of this. You guys have been great with supporting us. That's why we call you Pewter Nation. When it comes to listening to the podcast, when it comes to following us on Twitter, our web traffic numbers are going through the roof, and we greatly appreciate your support. So this is really something that we thought of only a couple weeks ago, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like doing video stuff, we've been thinking about doing it for a long time.
Yes.
We just wanted to make sure we kind of executed it in the right way.
Well, and also to kind of find the appropriate time to debut it.
Sure,
and what better time when, all eyes are on the draft. And that's something that we at PewterReport.com take a lot of pride in. And I've got a story. I'll repost it.
Is it Chuck Berry story?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I should say I have an article. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I only have one Chuck Berry story.
All right.
And I don't have any Chuck Barris stories for those Gong Show fans out there. But
people are going to be asking you for another Chuck Berry story.
Yeah. I got some good Buck stories though, and we'll delve into those. In the Pewter.
We talked about a couple of those on the podcast.
So, but I do have an article out that rounds out kind of our inside scoop on the draft. I'm not doing a Fab Five tomorrow because we're doing this. Plus, we'll have coverage tomorrow. Just too busy for the Fab Five this week. But that insider article, a couple thousand words, talking about the Buccaneers wanting to trade back, some possible names they could trade back for, but also listing in a very convenient place the Bucs' best bets, all in one location. So if you want to check that out, that's my SR's Inside the 2017 Bucs Draft column that I published earlier today on the website. That's kind of like a cheat sheet for all of our Bucs' best bets. I know long time listeners, followers, subscribers, readers have always loved that part of it. That's the fun part where, we put out there, if the Bucs are going to pick an offensive tackle in the first 3 rounds, it's going to be this guy. That's our guess. If they pick one later, rounds 4 through 7, it's going to be that guy. We do that for every position, so you can check that out in that article.
I see somebody said Louisville, Kentucky's in the house, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean that's a cool reason why we're doing this. Is we could have a draft party if we wanted to here in Tampa, and I know that we've done that before, and it's had a lot of success and it's been great. But doing something like this, kind of switching it up this year, being able to, because we know there's tons of Bucs fans all over the country who can't drive to who are avid readers of us, which we're super thankful for, and this is kind of our way to being able to even say thank you to you guys. Just having this huge hangout, being able to watch the draft with you all, because at the end of the day, we're football fans too. We're just draft nuts, and it's gonna be a fun night, I think, for every pick.
We'll go fund me a haircut for you.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. If you get, if you start paying me,
hold on, bend down a little bit. We weren't kidding.
What?
Here's the man bun right there.
Yeah.
It's when we call a man bun,
it's very detailed.
Why.
So
some of you guys really haven't seen Trevor Sikkema. Maybe you've heard him on the podcast. You've read his articles. You may have seen a picture. Some of you may know him personally, but he's one of those youngsters, one of those kids, about 20 years younger than me.
I don't play by your rules.
Yeah.
The Browns are on the clock right now.
Yeah. And we all three have Myles Garrett.
We all do have Myles Garrett,
selection
and
there.
it's going to be Myles Garrett. There was a little bit of a scare last night. We were seeing some reports that were saying it might have been, Trubisky's it, but they even got Schefter in on it. And let me tell you guys, and it's true for us a little bit, for the Bucs, is that, yes, teams will maybe manipulate the media a little bit here and there, but we're pretty good about not only knowing that, but getting the right information out to you guys. But the national media, I think teams play with Schefter and Rappaport
no doubt
a little more than other people think. So, and not that those guys don't get their
too.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and not that those guys don't get their scoops. They do, and they get it right, and they get it first a lot of the times. But when you're in that position where you're usually the person getting things first, you're also in a position to also get kind of duped and lead the charge in a direction that a team may be trying to smokescreen you to do. So I think that's where the Trubisky thing was yesterday.
And that's happened to us before, too. Sometimes you rely on agents for information or team sources or whatnot, and you get kind of sucked into the smokescreen, too. I've been doing this for 24 years. It happens. It's not always fun to have to kind of recant stuff or throw it out there, then kind of retract it or downplay it, but it happens. It's just part of the shell game that is the NFL draft. It is smoke and mirrors. There's always going to be some surprise picks. I remember last year, Trevor, Joey Bosa to the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, in hindsight,
that was one that started off.
In hindsight, it shouldn't have been, right? Because he was one of the best players in the whole draft.
Right.
So he kind of should have gone high. Hey guys, let us know. Let us know if the sound is okay or if it's ever like cutting out or anything like that. So you guys just be our check for it. So. Hey, there we go.
Yeah, I was born in Alexandria, Virginia, so the D.C. area very, very. We got Mark Cook in the house. Hello, Mr. Cook. Say hi.
Hi.
From behind the scenes.
Yeah, right. We're running the technical aspect of
How's
it.
it? How's the? Is it all right?
We got a little hum going on. Okay. Just make sure we're plugged in.
Is it all right?
Some good sound.
It could be. It very well could be.
It might be the fan from the computer.
Yeah.
You hear that? Because that'll probably show up a little bit.
All right,
so
awesome.
that might be it a little bit.
Hopefully not too distracting. Hopefully the information and the content overweighs.
The good news is you two
that.
look amazing. I just want to let you know that.
Well, thank you.
And we've already started getting some questions coming in on the red board thing.
Oh, have we?
Yeah,
okay.
excellent.
You try to check that because if I check them on the main computer,
I got it.
I don't want to mess something up here. So
we'll try to get
a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I would imagine that these are going to be coming in pretty fast.
And if the Bucs draft Dalvin Cook tonight, I will tell a Chuck Barris story.
There we go. There we go.
So we get a bonus Chuck Barris story from Mark coming up. That's awesome.
As if people didn't need a big enough reason to want Dalvin Cook to go to the Bucs.
Yeah, Shannon, thank you for sharing it on Facebook. Appreciate that.
Yeah. If
the
you
volume
guys
could be a little louder.
Okay.
Video is great.
Okay.
That's
all right.
feedback.
Let me try to get this here.
Yep. So
what are you doing? You walking in? All right.
He's doing some publicity pictures here. Okay.
Social media.
We're gonna smile. There you go.
What?
Mark's taking pictures. Okay.
I'm just reading.
So, Destino 102. Trevor, have you put on muscle since I last saw you?
That is one of my college roommates.
There you go.
He just started reading Pewter Report because I kind of came on. He's been all over the comments being a little witty dude. I'll just say that. John, I have. Thank you very much. Even after my collapsed lung, I'm sure you were rooting for that. But I have come back stronger than ever. So there you go.
Greg DeCruz, would you trade their first-round pick for someone's number one next year? Would I do that for the Buccaneers, you mean? I don't think so. I think right now Jason Light is in year 4. This team has not been to the playoffs. They're on the cusp. And I believe that this team needs able bodies this year. And I don't think that they're at that place in time where they could pull a Patriots or someone, another team that is maybe famous for trading back into next year and getting number one picks and things like that. I don't think the Buccaneers are there yet. I don't think Jason Light is also going to do anything to mortgage the future of this team. He's going to do any trading. It's going to be in this year's draft, maybe a late round pick, for next year or something like that. But I don't think it's going to be anything in the first, second round. He's going to do that and give away picks from next year.
The pick is in for Cleveland.
Okay.
So here we
Myles Garrett.
So here we go. Yeah. I won't tell you it's Myles Garrett, but it's Myles Garrett.
There we go.
There it is.
We're all right.
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett.
Batting 100. Batting 100% in my mock draft,
Yeah.
so.
I think it's batting 1,000, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
100%, same thing. Iowa Bucs
baseball,
fan.
am I
Awesome
right?
idea, guys. Should be an exciting evening. Merry Christmas. Let's open some presents. Yes, this is typically known as Christmas in April
Indeed.
for NFL fans, draftniks,
Yeah.
college football fans. So that's very cool. Reading some of these comments here. Love the format. Thank you very much, Adam. Least favorite player you think the Bucs should realistically draft? That's a good one. I'm not a huge Alvin Kamara fan, and it's funny because every year there's like a player or two that I really hope the Buccaneers don't end up drafting. And I'll be honest with you, in back-to-back years, in 2004 and 2005, did not want the Bucs drafting Michael Clayton. Did not want the Bucs drafting Cadillac Williams. True story. Matter of fact, Cadillac Williams was drafted on my birthday, April 23rd. This is back when the draft was moved up a week. And really ruined my birthday because
Wow.
Wow.
You hear that, Gruden?
I think
Come on,
DeMarcus
man.
Ware was the guy
Have you told
I
Gruden
liked.
that since?
Yes.
That you ruined his birthday?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I just got a Chucky face stare.
Well, that's almost.
You got to be kidding
That's
me,
almost
man.
as good as
Yeah.
a birthday present.
Yeah.
If you got a personal Chucky stare.
Yeah, that is. Well, the thing with Cadillac, what I didn't like was the Bucs had the 5th overall pick that year, and you're drafting the 3rd running back in the draft with the 5th overall pick because Ronnie Brown went, I believe, 1st or 2nd, and then Cedric Benson from Texas went to the Chicago Bears, and then I think there was the 4th pick, and then the Buccaneers made their selection. And the player I liked, I believe at the time, was DeMarcus Ware, who I thought was like the next coming of Simeon Rice. Monty Kiffin loved him. He was at the Senior Bowl, showed really, really well there. Went to Troy, and that was the guy I was really kind of jonesing for. And then, of course, and the funny thing is in 2004, what happened, Trevor? Michael Clayton blows up, 1,000-yard receiving season, and looks like the next coming of Keyshawn Johnson or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I kind of had to retract a little bit or rethink, my disdain, about the pick because it started looking like it was going to be a good pick. Same thing with Cadillac Williams.
Bears just traded in number 2.
Wow.
So I think. Hold on.
Solomon Thomas.
But did they just flip 2 and 3?
That
Because it still says Chicago is next.
Yeah, and it's going to say that until the trade has actually been.
Okay, so
consummated.
Solomon Thomas is going number 2 to the Chicago Bears.
Right. And I'm checking the Solomon Thomas to the Bears, Mark Cook.
Oh, wow.
But he had him going to the 49ers at 2. Okay.
God, we're gonna.
Now I had
the percentage.
I had Solomon Thomas going to the Bears at 3.
Yeah.
So do we split half a point there?
I don't know.
He got Thomas at number 2, but to the Bears.
So does that mean that if the Niners still get McCaffrey at some point, I get points? Because if so, then I'm cool with that format. We'll do that because I'm just trying to save my butt here.
So getting back to my story real quick. So Cadillac Williams, same thing. It's like, I did not like the pick at all. And what happens, the guy comes out, rushes for 500 yards in the first 3 games, something like that. Had an amazing rookie season.
Thank you, Ken.
Then he gets hurt, and then it looks like kind of a wasted pick. So those are 2 picks I just didn't like. Alvin Kamara is that guy this year. I just think there's other running backs that are better out there. Greg Cruz said the Bucs protected themselves in case Sweezy doesn't return to form. Good question. Yeah, I think the return to form. They're familiar with what happened.
Sweezy?
Sweezy,
okay.
yeah. So they're familiar with what happened. What I liked that the Bucs did was they went out and they put him through a training camp style workout. They made him hit the sled. They made him go to the weight room and really tax that back to see if there's anything wrong. If anything was going to relapse or occur injury-wise, they would have an inkling about that in March rather than in August or September. So he passed with flying colors. I think if anything happens to Sweezy, what the Bucs would do would be insert either Joe Hawley or Evan Smith at center, move Ali Marquette back to guard.
Yeah.
Because you want to get your best 5 out there.
First, yeah, absolutely. And and people are saying, how much should they expect Sweezy to return? Well, they wouldn't be moving Marpet to center
Right.
if they didn't think that Sweezy could play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's got to be something to that, at
Yep.
least. You know, if they really didn't think that he could play, they wouldn't even.
Right.
I don't think they'd bother. So,
Yep.
Durability, obviously, time will tell,
Yep.
but I think it's good so far.
Yep. It's interesting that that John Lynch has already passed up one Stanford Cardinal in Solomon Thomas.
Oh,
You know,
just to draft another one.
Maybe-
Just wait
yeah,
on
maybe to
it.
get
Just
that
wait on it.
I would not be surprised at all. I would
So,
not
okay, Chicago is still on, but we already know who they're going to pick.
Correct.
See, you guys watch the same broadcast that we do. And, like, when Schefter announces, hey, they're moving up for Solomon Thomas, obviously that's one that we all know. But sometimes Twitter is going to be much farther ahead of the broadcast because the broadcast has to go at a certain pace, I
be. There's
think.
like a delay.
So, hopefully we don't interfere with the excitement too much with you guys, but I think if we know the Bucs pick, we already talked about it. If we know the Bucs pick, we're going to say it.
The Bears
right?
gave up. Yes, the Bears gave up number 3 overall, a third-round pick, a 4th-round pick, and a 2018 third-round pick to move up one spot.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. John Lynch making some moves.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Holy smokes. That's quite the haul for the 49ers. Steve Weiss from what's the NFL Network, ESPN? Well, John Lynch is off to a good start as a GM, and he hasn't even made a pick yet. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who just tweeted that out?
Steve Weiss.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. That is quite the haul to move up one spot. So, yeah, that's stunning. Ferrant 100. Great idea, guys. It's 1 a.m. in London. Really looking forward to this. Let's go, Light and the Bucs. Wow, that's so cool. We have someone
Across
in
the
London,
pond.
yeah, willing to stay up this late.
Yeah.
And it's just getting started. I mean, 1 o'clock. What time? We were talking. It's going to end 5 o'clock in the morning in London
For
time?
them? God,
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say it's going to end, like, our day is going to end at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like,
it's
I
gonna
didn't
feel like it.
I didn't bring my cot. Like,
It's going to feel
so
like it.
I must have forgot that. But
Yeah.
yeah, there it is. So 3rd overall pick, 3rd and 4th this year, and a 3rd next year.
Yeah.
One spot?
Yeah.
Man. And see, here's the thing, too. This is why it's a genius move for, hold on, let's make sure he says the word Solomon Thomas before we go on here. Oh! They moved
What?
up for Trubisky.
Wow.
They moved up for Trubisky?
Wow. Ahead of the Cleveland Browns. Afraid that the Browns were
Oh
going to trade up.
my
Wow.
word.
If you're Mike Glennon right now in Chicago, if you are Mike Glennon right now in Chicago,
You think he's watching this?
you have got to be shocked. You're like, I just got here and you've already drafted my replacement. Holy smokes. Wow. I did not see that one coming. Holy smokes.
That's why I said we were talking about Solomon Thomas. And I was
I
like,
know.
hold on, let's wait till
I
he
know.
says the
Yes.
words, because you gotta wait.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness, God,
Wow.
Pinhead, I feel bad for you, man.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, and that's
Hey,
why.
I tell you what, that week 2 game when the Bears come to Raymond James Stadium, that might be Glennon's only like second start he gets for the Bears. He'd probably be the starter in week 1 or week 2.
Tampa might put Glennon on the bench.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
they work Glennon hard,
Yeah.
they might end Glennon's starting career.
Yeah. Just like they did Jay Cutler's
Oh, it's very true.
with the pick 6.
Very true.
Chris Conley, got to be licking his chops. Come on, Mike Glennon. Come on, rookie. Holy smokes. Wow. Ho.
Man.
Hey, this is going to be a fun, unpredictable draft. And we're just getting started. We're 2 picks in, so this is going to be crazy. And
how do you pay him all that money? So I think I remember looking his contract up.
yeah,
Glennon's, right?
It's basically like a 1-year deal. You're overpaying for 1 year.
I think it's like 1.5 because like they give him the full money up front, and then
And
I
he
think they still give him a
partial
little
guaranteed
bit,
money,
in the next year. So technically, they let him ride this year, which I mean, we freak out about the pick, but let's face it. If You draft a rookie.
Right.
You got Glennon. You
Yep.
can get rid of him for basically nothing in a year and a half when
Yep.
Trubisky would be good anyways because he's only started 13 games.
Yeah. Mike Glennon's, 25 years old?
QB
26?
league, folks.
Yeah.
QB league.
He's going to make a chunk of change in Chicago for, keeping the seat warm, holding a clipboard,
Yeah.
being a couple game mentor.
They
not a bad gig.
They must have really thought Trubisky was going to go somewhere.
The Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland.
Yeah,
Cleveland has been in discussions with Tennessee
So
about moving up.
I talked to
So Solomon Thomas still out there for John Lynch.
Wow, man.
Right?
Yep.
So the 49ers are on the clock. So they could get Solomon Thomas when it's all said and done at number 3 and get kind of a bit of a king's ransom haul here.
So San Francisco's back on the clock,
Yeah.
and San Francisco still has their pick of anybody.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So I have Solomon Thomas going. I'll tell you what, though, this could be Jamal Adams too. This could be Jamal Adams. Keep in mind, John Lynch is the safety. His first pick as a general manager very well could be one of the probably cleanest, best players in the draft. Wouldn't you agree? LSU safety Jamal Adams.
He's one of the best football players.
Right.
We talked
Right.
about that a lot this week, for sure.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Just reading some tweets here. These are good. Yeah. Chris Fisher chimes in. We count $4.5 million against the cap if let go in 2018.
Okay,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
you go. So that was
Exactly.
what I was saying. Because what is he, Chris? You might have the numbers right in front of you. It's more this year, right? I mean, he's obviously not getting cut this year.
Yeah, he's
but
pretty much guaranteed this year's money. For
I
sure.
think is
yeah,
it
Yeah,
is it like 7, 8, 9 million?
Something
I think
like
so.
Yeah, I don't have the money. Numbers in front of me here. David Blanchard, can Lynch help himself with Jamal Adams on the board? See, I don't think he can. Matter of fact, in my mock draft, I had Jamal Adams going to the 49ers with the second pick. So he could be going to the 49ers with the third pick
It's so.
after this draft haul by John Lynch.
I do like Mitchell Trubisky a little bit, but like Deshaun Watson was my number 1 QB. I just don't understand how you look at the resume that Deshaun Watson had. Played the national championship twice, and he was the best player on the field both games. And he's getting picked over a guy who started 13 games in his career. Kind of crazy.
A guy that could not beat out the starter in North Carolina his sophomore or junior year.
Yeah.
I mean, that says something. I mean, it's like at Oklahoma State back in the day. I'm dating myself here, youngin.
Okay.
But, there was a time when Barry Sanders was on the bench at Oklahoma State, and he didn't really get the chance to shine, I don't think, till his junior year because he was behind Thurman Thomas.
You know what the craziest
So, like, when
situation
that
is?
happens, that's one thing. I don't even know who the starting quarterback at North Carolina was.
Marcus Williams. But I
It
mean,
doesn't even ring a bell to me.
he didn't make the NFL,
Right.
so this guy's getting picked number 2 overall.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was going to say, the best example of that 2001 Miami team, the Canes, you're just looking like Sean Taylor's riding the pine, but it's for like Ed Reed or something, It's just, that era is crazy, but man.
That's different, but when you're Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, see, Chris said 18 and a half in dead money in 2017. So he's basically right. He's, they're just going to cut him next year pretty much.
Yep.
They're going to just get rid of that contract, so.
Yep. Matthew.
Good to have Jameis in the roster on a draft like this.
Yeah.
You're dang right it is. I think it's good to have Jameis on the roster in any draft. So
Matthew from London says, run on these questionable quarterbacks would be a perfect scenario for the Bucs. Yes, it would.
You are 100% right. The more quarterbacks, and I was telling people earlier this week, the more quarterbacks go early, the better it is for Tampa Bay. They should be rooting.
Right.
They should be rooting for Deshaun Watson to go next, and then they should be rooting for Deshaun Kaiser to go next, and so on and so on. So, pick is in for San Francisco. Haven't seen anything yet, but
check Twitter. I mean, they're not going to. 49ers will go with Stanford defensive end Solomon Thomas, or should they pick Ohio State cornerback Marshawn Lattimore? That's from Aaron Wilson. I'm pretty sure this is going to be Solomon Thomas.
I think it's
Solomon Thomas.
Their D-line is already so, it doesn't make any sense. And Solomon Thomas I think he's a good football player, but he is he's a tweener. There's not, the only interior defensive lineman who plays at his size is Aaron Donald, and there's only one Aaron Donald.
Yeah, and he is not as twitchy as Aaron Donald. Aaron
Right,
Donald
exactly.
is like Warren Sapp twitchy.
And so some people are like, okay, well, Solomon Thomas is an edge player. And then you look at him on the edge, and you're like, all right, well, I mean, it's not like he's beating people around with speed or anything like that.
Right.
So he's a good football player. I just think I don't really know where you draft him. And if a team like San Francisco drafts him, they already have Arik Armstead and DeForest Buckner. So both of those guys are playing on the edge. You're not really going to shift one of them on the inside because they're both 6'7". You can't get leverage on the inside if you're 6'7". So then you're basically saying that Solomon Thomas is a 3-tech. And it's not great with gaps, with gap control as a 3-tech. So I don't know. We'll see. He's coming to the podium now. So Andrew's calling Jamal Adams. He said it right there. There it is. All right, so it was Solomon Thomas. So
So going back to the board, Mark had Solomon Thomas going to the 49ers. I had Solomon Thomas going 3rd overall. You don't have Solomon Thomas going to the Chargers. So however you want to score that, you're trailing right now.
Knowing less is more, apparently, folks.
Yep.
That's how the NFL draft works.
Nick, diehard fan from Connecticut, was only 7 years old when they won the Super Bowl. Been through a lot of horrible years. Yeah. You know, I started covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1995. Good year to start, right? John Lynch was already on board, so was Hardy Nickerson.
You bandwagon.
No, I'm just, I was there to see the rise of the Buccaneers, unfortunately the fall, but then the rise again. It's just been a while, Trevor. That's the whole thing. It's just been a while. There's been a big, huge valley between those mountaintops, and the Buccaneers are trying to make it up the second one. The first one happened in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks got here right when I did, and it was a pleasure covering those guys. You know, I was here for every minute of Mike Allstott's career, and Donnie Abraham, the Iceman, cornerback, one of my favorite players to cover. He came in 1996 along with Allstott, and then 97 you had that draft class Warwick Dunn, Frank Middleton, Jerry Wunsch, Riedel Anthony, and of course Ronde Barber in the 3rd round. So it's been a long time. And if you were 7 years old, Nick, when the Bucs won the Super Bowl, you haven't really seen a lot of great football growing up. A lot of good Buccaneer football happened in those late 90s under Dungy, and then obviously 2002 with Gruden, and then also a couple sporadic years. 2005, very good year for the Bucs. 2008, not so much. 2007 was the last time they won.
Wow, Jack's pick's already in. They already know. That makes me think it's going to be John Allen.
Yeah, I would think so. When you look at Tom Coughlin's track record for drafting defensive linemen with the Giants, that kind of fits here, I think. He's a defensive-minded guy in terms of...
I feel like they got Fowler, they got Campbell. Oh man, his name it's that like weird looking N starting name that I can't pronounce. Whatever. So they got a bunch of defensive linemen.
Yeah, but they need some tackles.
Right?
Malik,
guys.
Malik, the dude from the Broncos last year. Oh, we're delayed.
What? Oh. God.
Mark Cook is great.
Cook's in here trolling us. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to troll other people.
Yeah. Technically trying to get the sound better.
Okay.
Is it soft or what?
It's just that hum I don't like.
Nick's telling me to get off my phone. Nick, this is what I do, man. I just, this is half of, my sleep. I'm just laying in bed looking at my phone, and I consider that to be sleep hours.
Well,
this is what I do.
The thing, too, is that these things are sources of information. We get texts from people that we have to read sometimes. Yeah, Malik Jackson, that's who it was. Yep, thank you, Chris Fisher.
There it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chris says it sounds fine. Maybe you're hearing things.
Yeah, old man.
I'm listening on the laptop and I'm listening on my phone.
Okay.
A little bit of fuzz.
Yeah, Mark Cook is getting producer credit, but it's not really a producer. He's more of like a roadie.
I'm hearing you twice now.
Hey,
Am I leaving?
Okay. tweet it. Keep tweeting it out a couple of times.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
link for it, just
Yeah.
just making sure.
Yeah. It's only going to be Leonard Fournette, by the way. It's not going to be.
Is it?
You
The
think
pick
it's
of
gonna be
Fournette?
Well,
Is
You
that
think
who
that,
have
or
in
you
your-
know
come
that?
on, I trust me. I knew Hargraves last year. I know this. Trust me.
Mark Cook special. It's gonna be Fournette, folks.
Am I 3 for 3 so far right now?
Well, that's debatable.
No, you didn't say we were doing trades in this thing. I was just going straight 1 through 32.
Well, you're
Well,
not
if
3
it's-
for 3
if
because you
it's
didn't
John-
pick Trubisky.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. I did.
Right. You had John Allen to the Bears.
Well, that was stupid.
Yeah.
How about Mike Glennon? What's he thinking right now?
Oh my gosh. Poor Mike.
He's thinking, "Shut up, John Fox."
That was your version of
Napoleon.
Napoleon Dynamite. Yeah. Have not seen that movie.
Do you hear this, Trevor?
What?
He's never seen Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, it's come
Jason
on.
Villatori, I like this. They don't tell Shefty to get off his phone. You do you,
Thank
Trey.
you.
Exactly.
Thank you. I got better hair than Schefter, anyways.
Yeah.
So
He's got a better paycheck.
He does.
he does have a better
And a
paycheck.
better-
No,
and
hold
a
on.
better track record.
Hold on.
He's
I'm
got
not
more
letting you
Twitter
off.
followers
I'm
than
not
he
letting you
does,
off the
too.
hook here. You've never seen Napoleon Dynamite?
No, I haven't.
He's never seen Sling Blade either.
Well, you hadn't seen Star Wars before.
All right, hold on,
Get
hold
out
on.
of here,
Jags,
dude.
hold on. Jags are.
I don't like
Here
Got
comes
to
the
pick.
selection.
I don't-
I'm going to go Jonathan Allen.
I don't do love stories.
You get Jonathan
in
Allen?
space.
There
Wow,
it is, Leonard
There you
Fournette.
go.
Y'all need anything else? Let me
First
know.
round.
I'll be in here working.
Yeah.
Mark
Boom.
Cook tearing it up right now. He
Boom.
has got 3 out of the 4 picks.
Boom.
And Mark Cook has left the building, thankfully. Wow. I mean, I can't say I'm terribly surprised by that, but I was thinking Jonathan Allen. I was thinking defensive line. Maybe it's because I had Fournette going to the Panthers. So, if you were the Carolina Panthers, do you go running back? Do you go Christian McCaffrey? Was that a smokescreen or
Who
is
is
that real
this?
love? Carolina Panthers coming up in a couple picks. Number 8, I'm thinking they need defensive end help.
I mean, they need O-line more than anything,
well,
if you ask me, but
Yeah, but there's nobody worth taking this high in the draft though for offensive line. So you can get a running back here because Jonathan Stewart kind of on his last leg. Tolbert has left the building. For whatever reason, they have decided to go Crypt Keeper at the defensive end position with Julius Peppers and Charles Johnson, and they shipped Coney Ely away, who was like their young guy.
what if they got John Allen and Christian McCaffrey on the board at 8?
Who do they take?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Who would you take if you're Carolina? Like you just listed,
Well,
they got a little bit of running back
If I'm
need,
Carolina, I take Christian McCaffrey because I like him.
Okay.
And I think he adds a different dimension to that offense. But knowing Ron Rivera, he likes that smash mouth style football, the physical style of play that has got him to the Super Bowl. Fournette was that banger.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you what though, if I'm Carolina, Dalvin Cook would be
Oh, for sure.
would be the guy
I mean,
that I would take if I'm Ron Rivera and I want to continue that physical style of play because I don't think McCaffrey's the banger that Cook could be, and Cook is not the banger that Fournette is, but I think Dalvin Cook would be a better fit, at number 8, and they just gave Kawan Short all that money, so I don't know that they need another.
they lost
still-
Coney Ely though to the Patriots, right?
Well,
So-
yeah, but I don't think Jonathan Allen is a defensive end. I think
Okay.
he's more of an inside
Okay.
interior
I mean,
defensive
I'd agree.
lineman.
I'd agree.
And they've got Star Luetta Lele,
Yep.
in there
Yep.
as well.
No, they
so.
have plenty of defensive line work. I've heard people go back and forth on that with who they would pick. What did somebody say?
Shannon's like, what song would you walk out to if you were drafted?
Um,
That's a good song. All right, man, good question. What song would I? It probably would be Nightwish, Planet Hell.
you love that song.
I do, yeah.
So, you know what's funny? A rapper, Meek Mill,
I'm not surprised.
sampled that song,
Really?
the beginning of that song, for his song "Pray for Him," which
Okay,
just came
I'll
out.
have to hear that.
And I will play it for him later. I think my walkout song would probably be "March Madness" by Future. What's up? Yeah. This beginning part here
Yeah.
is sampled on a Meek Mill song.
Okay,
Hold on.
yeah.
I'll show you.
This gets my blood pumping whenever I work out, whenever I run.
Whenever you write, you listen to these guys when you write.
I do, yeah.
I see him working at $1 here, like right in the Fab Five, and I'll hear through his headphones, he's blasting this stuff, like
Yeah.
full volume.
Yeah, Nightwish helps fuel me at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. on Thursday nights, and I'm trying to get this out. So here come the drums. We're going to hear some crunchy guitars. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
This is your caffeine, right?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. And it builds. It almost has a little bit of a pirate theme too. You know, like you could see the pirate ship going across the ocean. It's pretty badass if you ask me.
Okay.
So that's planned out.
Listen to this. This is the. I'm gonna try to pull it up here. Jags just drafted Mike Tomlin.
Nice. Like it.
So this is like for
There
a
you
rap
go.
song.
That's respect.
He samples that for it. So
you got a rapper who is sampling some Nordic metal.
I know
That's
it's
awesome.
a Pewter report. There's some kind of Pewter report.
You were destined to be here. I'm just saying.
I guess you're right. I guess it was.
Yep.
Titans taking all of their time, which actually is not a. Oh, I thought they were saying that just happened.
Nope.
Titans are taking all their time, which is not a surprise because
John Robinson probably trying to trade back a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what
yeah.
though, Jamal Adams is staring him right in the face. Or you can go cornerback Marshawn Lattimore. You know, those are two guys.
I'm with you, Chris.
They don't need a running back.
I'm not a big fan of Jonathan Stewart. I'm not a big fan of Jonathan Stewart. But having him and Fournette on the same team was weird to me, especially because you got Cam Newton, who is much better under the shotgun. Now we didn't talk about this about Fournette. I've been a heavy critic of Fournette,
right?
As it comes to, I guess him is just an overall prospect. But let me say, I like him landing in Jacksonville. Not at 4 overall. I don't love picking a running back at number 4.
It's a good scheme fit though. For
right?
What they're trying to do.
They still run a lot of power under center.
I thought you made one of the most compelling arguments, and I want you to share it here in case you missed it. We probably talked about it on a podcast, or you've written about it. But Derrick Henry, being a second-round draft pick to the Tennessee Titans last year, and Leonard Fournette being the 4th overall pick this year. Go.
Yeah, no, that was one of my arguments about picking running backs high, and we heard the whole time that.
What's the difference between the two?
The difference is that Henry is bigger, basically just as fast, and he's more athletic.
And more accomplished coming out of college with a national championship, with
don't get me wrong, I think
the Heisman, with the 2,000-yard season.
I think Fournette is a talented running back, but you can't tell me that Derrick Henry gets picked near the middle of the second round and then Fournette goes 4. Why?
Yeah.
So
Kim Grant makes a good point. He's talking about Carolina running a lot of man blocking up front, and McCaffrey would be. I don't know if he would be a waste in that system.
But that's
per
why
se.
Cook would be perfect to Carolina.
Right, exactly. But he makes a good point. It's not a terribly logical fit. You would have to adapt your offense to make the Christian McCaffrey pick work a little bit. You would have to do some things outside the box in Carolina.
Sure.
And maybe they want to, because their offense has been a little stagnant. You know, it was last year, I thought. It was very bland, dry, non-productive. And I think that's a big reason why the Panthers season tanked. It wasn't all just Cam Newton not being able to do his thing. I just don't think the play calling was good. The execution wasn't good. So.
Sorry. Titans pick is in. I'm sure you guys already know that. You're thinking O.J. Howard and Mike Williams here for Tennessee. Lattimore's still on the board too.
I can see O.J. Howard.
It's got to be corner offensive weapon for sure, right?
Yeah. You got to help out Marcus Mariota, young quarterback, and what a better way to do that than with the quality tight end. A guy that we saw at the Senior Bowl, and we were just blown away by how good this guy is.
Who? O.J. Howard?
O.J. Howard.
Yeah, he's a freak. Guys that big shouldn't be able to move that well. And that's the theme of that. Really is the theme of the entire tight end class. David Njoku as well. He's another guy. You just watch him live. I went to his pro day first time I saw him live, and it's just, oh, here we go. They're picking.
John Robinson, former Buccaneer personnel guy. Protege for Jason Lynch. Picks. Wow.
Yes!
Wow.
Yes! My boy. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that makes me so happy.
I'll tell you, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, because the Buccaneers were not.
Put that suit jacket on, Corey Davis. You get to the front of the podium.
First wide receiver taken. Not John Ross. Not Mr. 422.
God, that's beautiful. I'm so happy right now.
Not as big a fan as you are, but yeah, I'm a fan.
Oh, man. That's awesome. I think Corey Davis is a straight wide receiver one, man.
Yeah.
I just think that he is a complete wide receiver. I heard so many people try to bash him during the draft process, and his tape is so complete. It is.
I agree, and there are some, again, and it's difficult because, we here at PewterReport.com, our job is to provide Buccaneer information to you. And we had heard that this team was not the biggest Corey Davis fan. And that's okay because, like I said, in this draft, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Because there are players in this draft where there's really not much consensus. I guarantee you, if you took the pulse of all 32 teams and asked them who the number one pick was at the wide receiver position, some would say John Ross, some would say Mike Williams, some would say Corey Davis, some might even say somebody in the second round. There's just not a lot of consensus, Trevor, this year at a lot of positions. Receiver, dare I say, running back, offensive tackle, cornerback. There's just a lot of players out there that pique the interest of some teams, but not others. And great for John Robinson and the Titans. That's a high pick. I did not see Corey Davis coming there. Matter of fact, I thought he would slide. And I'm sure that there's a lot of teams out there that are celebrating that didn't have him high on the board. The Buccaneers kind of thought he was a Jordan Matthews type of guy with maybe a 4.6, 4.65 type speed. I thought he was faster than that myself. But again, so we get, we have to balance out what we believe the Buccaneers are going to do and report that versus what we would do if we were GMs. And that's why we have our opinion columns and all that, because we get to share our thoughts. And sometimes they align. A couple weeks ago, I wrote that the Buccaneers would be better off trading back. And it looks like they might be trying to do that. That's what Adam Schefter reported yesterday. So we'll have to wait and see.
Oh, man. Sorry, that was just I did not think. I have had Corey Davis at number 5 in before this week, when you hear almost like all of the narratives or the smoke screens or whatever of teams. I have had Corey Davis in the mock drafts that I could possibly put him at 5 in.
What's up,
Adam
Animal?
at 5.
I see you, Joe. How you doing? We get a lot of people here in the chat.
I know, man. It's
a lot
awesome.
Of people following us. Yeah.
Adam, I know Adam Sproles. He's been with me a lot this draft season. He just asked me questions, stuff like that. So he said he was excited to see Trevor's reaction. So people said that there's like a 5-second delay. So they heard it was Corey Davis.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were like, now I gotta wait to see what he's thinking. So I love it, man. I love getting Mariota a lot of help. And I love Mariota coming out as quarterback too. And so I think this just helps the Titans a lot. Them picking, what's interesting is though them picking Corey Davis over Lattimore, because we heard for a long time was that Lattimore was this consensus top prospect, cornerback prospect, and in a more deep wide receiver draft. I think it's a deep at corner too, but I would have figured they would have gone Lattimore. I'm glad they didn't. This is the pick that I would have made.
Yeah,
so.
It's interesting because there's a couple of guys on the board now that I thought would be top 5 picks or in that realm. Talking about Jamal Adams, the safety from LSU, and O.J. Howard. Now, I had O.J. Howard actually, going down a bit to number 12. So it's still plausible that he is, going to be taken in the next couple picks, or certainly by number 12. But I had a trade projected between Tennessee and Cleveland, and I had Mitch Trubisky. I like how you put him as Mitch rather than Mitchell, you rebel. Mitch Trubisky at number 5.
That was so weird at the combine when he was like, I prefer to be called Mitchell. Thank you. It's like,
and then I had Tennessee taking O.J. Howard.
Chris says the Browns are trying to trade for Kirk Cousins. Another thing that I also heard earlier before the draft is that the Jaguars were thinking about dealing Blake Bortles to the Cardinals.
Yep.
I read that as well. So there's a lot of potential chaos here.
Here's some inside scoop for you, too. Part of the reason why Mike Smith did not get the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching job is because one of the questions that was asked, and part of this is because the sheriff's in town, Tom Coughlin, and I think Mike Smith would want to run the show, but everybody knows that it's Tom Coughlin's running the show there in Jacksonville. But there's a reason why that he wasn't selected as the head coach, because they asked everybody do you believe in Blake Bortles? And the current head coach, Doug Marrone, was there last year, and he was the only one that really believed in him. And I don't think the franchise is ready to give up on Blake Bortles yet. However, if they trade him, boy, that would be something. But yeah, there's not many people in this building that believe Blake Bortles is a good quarterback. I'll just say that too, from the Buccaneers' perspective. So we'll just leave that there.
He's interesting because I think Bortles is. I don't think he's ever going to be like a tactician, right? He's never going to be anywhere near the realm of Peyton Manning, accuracy or anticipation wise. But he's a gunslinger, and you look at gunslinger quarterbacks who are really coveted. Even we talk about the draft a lot.
Right.
Look at the guys who are going higher. There are a lot of the guys that can be the gunslingers, and that makes sense why you took Blake Bortles at number 3. But this is a big year for him, man, because if he doesn't get those turnovers down, he's not going to last. And they're not even going to be able to get a trade partner for him. They're just going to cut him. So, somebody said it's spoiled. It's got to be Jamal Adams, right? We haven't seen it yet. The pick is in, but Sal just told us that Adams is number 1, right, on the Jets board, which there's no way he meant like over Miles, right?
I don't know.
That's the thing. Like I put out Tampa Bay's big board today, or like what I think that it would be.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett's still number 1. It's still a big.
Sure.
It's still like hey, what if Myles Garrett made it to here? He's still your number 1 player. So that would be weird if I heard that right and Adams is their number 1. But.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is we thought that the pick was going to be Solomon Thomas to the Bears too.
True.
And then he walks the card out and
he says,
Trubisky.
"Yeah, you're right. It might be. We could get a Deshaun Watson here. That'd be pretty cool."
I think this is going to be Jamal Adams, though.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are.
Yeah. That's a good, safe pick. He's a good football player. He's going to help that football.
Yeah, man. Jamal Adams on is one of your safeties.
Jamal Adams is going to be the pick.
Jamal Adams on one and Calvin Pryor on the other.
Mm-hmm.
They'll hit you. Hey, those boys will hit you.
You're in a division where you play Tom Brady twice a year.
Yeah, you better get faster.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm them...
You better make some plays in that secondary.
If I'm them, I'd take Malik Hooker here over it. Because Calvin Pryor's more of a strong safety,
right.
And Adams can play free safety.
He has some range. I think he's better in the box.
They just got to teach him,
Yeah.
He's got plenty of range to do it. Here, let's see. Let's make it official.
Jamal Adams.
There it is. Good for you, Jamal Adams.
Yep.
Good for you.
Buccaneers absolutely loved Jamal Adams.
Oh yeah?
Loved him. Like
I have him.
Loved him.
I put him at number 2 on the board for the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Myles Myles Garrett, and then it was Jamal Adams.
Yeah. Sometimes I kind of poll people in the organization for guilty pleasures. Players that you may not be able to get because they're going to go way higher than you're picking. They're just out of your reach, or maybe they're at a position where you're flush. Like let's say this team's not going to draft a starting caliber quarterback per se because they got Jameis Winston, but who's another quarterback you love? The 2 guilty pleasures that I was able to come up with from people within the organization: Jamal Adams and Forrest Lamp. Saying.
I'm so good at this, guys. I have Forrest Lamp in the middle of the rankings, basically for the Buccaneers, over a lot of over some players that they would think shouldn't be considered over Forrest Lamp. So,
that's funny, Chris. Thank you for that. That's good.
Yeah, Forrest Lamp. He's a complete offensive lineman, and the reason why I put Forrest Lamp where I did, and I put him as the top offensive lineman for them to take. What's the key theme out of basically every single offensive lineman that they've had the chance to draft in Light's tenure here? Versatility. Right. You can play guard, you can play tackle, you can do it all. And when you talk about having the opportunity to play the best 5 at one spot, this is what we're talking about. And Forrest Lamp is one of those players. So, that's good. That's good to hear because that's what I put in my big board as well.
That's
and a lot of people were given, not a lot of people, some of you really liked it. But other parts of it, people were saying that no, there's no way that this big board could be correct, and I'm just, I'm saying
Destino 102 song suggestion for Scott. End of All Hope by Nightwish. That's another great song. I mean, there's not many bad Nightwish songs.
That is my friend John, and I can't, man. You and him probably have the exact same weird music
Yeah,
choice.
we need to have a beer together and listen to some Nightwish. You know, might come in handy when it's 10 a.m. on a Friday and the Fab Five isn't done.
Yep,
Yeah, that's
yep.
happened before. I'll tell you. Yeah, I tell you, the Fab Five is a labor of love. Some weeks it's a little bit easier, quicker, comes together a little bit better than others. Depends on if it's more stat driven, if it's more interview driven, if it's more analysis driven. But typically, what a Thursday looks like for me, Thursday nights, I go to bed around 2. I set the alarm for 5, sometimes 4. I basically take a nap, then I get up, and I always add more things Friday morning. And so that's where my creative juices flow during that 2-hour nap I take, 3-hour nap if I'm lucky, and then put some pictures in, it gets proofed, and then we try to get it up by 9 sometimes.
Someone just said that the deal for Cousins, it probably is not. Doesn't look like it's happening.
Yeah.
They're running out of time here, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen with Cousins. But
Yeah. Chris Fisher says, "Hey Trevor, LSU gets 2 players in the top 6 of the NFL draft. It still lose to the Gators at home."
Hey, if you want a clip
Yep.
of our freshman running back carrying Jamal Adams for 15 yards, I can gladly provide that for you. So go Gators.
Ken Grant, Hooker here to San Diego. I think that is their top target. Fell right into the lap again. That very well could be. I'm trying to remember who I picked at age 45. My memory goes. So I have them taking Hassan Reddick. Damn, Mark Cook has Malik Hooker. That's probably who it's going to be. You have Solomon Thomas, who was picked like.
No, my draft shot. We're not talking about that anymore. So Jay just asked me that if I think Bortles won't make it because of the turnovers, what does that say about Watson? And I guess the difference there, and the reason why Watson would be my QB1 is because I trust Watson way more up here than I do Bortles. And I think that Bortles has a better arm. But here's the thing about...
I don't think Blake Bortles is a big game quarterback. I think there are certain quarterbacks, like Jay Cutler, he's a good passer. He's just not a big game quarterback.
He's
not a winner.
When the bigger the arm you have,
right,
the smarter you have to be,
mm-hmm.
and that's what and that's always the case. Both have to go up at the same rate, and I trust Watson. Yes, Watson did have a lot of turnovers last year. I'm not saying that he didn't, but I trust Watson mentally, in the future more than I do say Blake Bortles, because I've seen him have ice in his veins in some of the biggest games of the year and make some really tough throws. And yes, he does make some bad ones, and he's got to get better at it. But I trust Watson to get better at it, whereas I'm not so sure that Bortles ever will. Because this is kind of the guy that he's been the whole time, even at UCF.
Yep. Matthew, over there in London, Fab 5 is the lifeblood of your average London Bucs fan. Thank you very much. That is awfully kind of you to say. I appreciate it. When I write the Fab 5, my goal is to...
Oh, he said Winston. He said Winston, not Watson. I must have read that wrong. Oh, then what does that say about Winston? I mean, basically the same argument.
Yeah.
I think Winston has already shown that he is capable of getting better and working at it. I trust Winston again mentally just to improve where Blake Bortles wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is it's a little different with Bortles and Winston. With Winston, I think it was at Florida State. He was allowed to do a lot of things out of structure.
Yeah.
He had the arm in college to be able to get away with stuff, and he's kind of getting over that in his first 2 years. Bortles, I just think, makes bad decisions.
You know what? For quarterbacks that their arrow's pointing down, and maybe Bortles is one of those guys, Colin Kaepernick's one of those guys. They're still young. They're under the age of 30. We've seen quarterbacks that, look at Brad Johnson. His best football happened at the end of his career, won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've seen Tom Brady and, Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, some of these legends. We've seen Vinny Testaverde play into his 40s. I mean, that's a position where if you stay healthy and you still have your arm, you can tack another decade onto your career, even if you're at age 27 or 28 right now. But the thing about that is, if you look at a guy like RG3, Trevor, where he's desperate to start, desperate to stay relevant, and where does he end up going? He goes to the Cleveland Browns. Why? Because there's an opportunity to start. If I'm RG3, I want to go to a place like Arizona, where I'm behind Carson Palmer, or I want to go to Seattle, where I'm behind Russell Wilson, or I want to go to Green Bay, where I'm behind Aaron Rodgers, and ride the pine for a year or two, but be around a really good head coach, an offensive-minded guy,
It's so important.
like
It's
Bruce
so
Arians, and with a veteran quarterback who's been there and done that. To me, that's going to make you a better quarterback in the long run. So when you are available to hit the market, and we've seen these guys that have these resurgent part of their careers in the mid to
Hold on, San Diego's about
early
to pick.
30s.
Are you about to be right again, Cook?
I'm always right.
Is this Malik Hooker?
Yeah.
Oh!
These wide receivers are going so early.
Mike Williams,
Wow.
baby.
Holy smokes.
I didn't have Corey Davis in my draft.
Wait,
Dropped
Cousins
down.
to the Browns.
Yeah,
Fisher just said Cousins to the Browns is a done deal. Redskins
And
get pick number
Redskins,
12.
They're going to take Deshaun Watson is the rumor. Redskins trading Cousins.
Oh, heck yeah. I'm totally down with that.
Wow.
I'm totally down with that.
The Los Angeles Chargers have selected Mike Williams. That's going to really make Phillip Rivers happy because his receiving core was junk a couple years ago.
Well,
now it's on the rise.
The crazy thing is I hope he's recovered from that hamstring that he had here in Tampa. He's been out of football for a couple years.
Hold on.
Maybe he doesn't sleep on
Wait
a
a sec.
mattress. Oh, wait, different Mike Williams.
Wait. Hold on.
Waiting for somebody to get that one. But we have a
Chris got duped.
We have a
Chris got duped. They didn't deal. They
Yeah.
didn't deal Cousins.
Nope.
That was a fake account.
We are they.
Welcome to Twitter, my friend.
We have a listener.
You gotta
we have a
keep-
listener
gotta
in
keep your head on a
Austria
swivel.
right now.
That's awesome.
We got a listener in Austria?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Hey.
He commented on the story thread.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
All right.
We're going to check the question thread here a little bit.
Chris, I'm pretty
By the way,
sure.
this is the best receiver in the draft.
Who is?
Mike Williams.
Yeah. I
No,
agree.
Corey Davis went at 5.
No, he's the best.
No, Corey Davis.
No.
Oh,
Corey
okay.
Davis wasn't even on my.
I know he wasn't. People were like, hold up.
Iowa Buck fan says, this is from the Red Board.
Yes.
Thank you guys for posting your questions on the Red Board as well as Twitter. Given what has happened
You're
so
right,
far,
Chris.
how likely are the Bucks staying at 19? I think it's too early to say because right now we're seeing a run on wide receivers that I thought wouldn't happen until the middle round or the middle part of the round.
Yeah.
So it really depends. I think Carolina at number 8 is really going to kind of set the table for what's going to transpire.
I think there are a handful of players that the Bucks want, and that's why I think that it's more. If you ask me right now, I think it's more likely they trade back than pick at 19. What do you think?
Yeah, I
Plus
think so.
Marshawn Lattimore is sitting there.
Well, I mean, if Marshawn Lattimore makes it to 19,
Yeah.
I will run from here
Up
to
the
Philly.
war room.
Yeah.
No,
No, I'll run to Philly.
Upstairs, knock on the door, Jason. Here's the
Yeah.
card,
It's-
right? Yeah.
In my chicken scratch handwriting, that's for you, John.
Shiano is my hero on the Red Board.
Mine too.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. The pick is in. Carolina's pick is in.
Already. McCaffrey?
All right, we're gonna.
Dalvin.
Oh, if it's Dalvin, that'll be fun. I mean,
I'll get to see him once a year at least.
McCaffrey to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey.
is it?
Yep.
Man.
Where did I have McCaffrey going? Oh yeah, that would be Panthers.
You did. Gosh, Cook, you were.
Did you really?
Yeah, Cook is
Oh
on
my
fire. This
gosh.
is crazy.
The least
Wow.
knowledgeable draft guy. on
Dude,
staff.
Les is.
Wow.
Remember in
Man.
2012 when Kike went 0 for 32 in the first
Well, I
round?
mean, you.
0 for 32. I know a couple trades.
Well,
happened,
because.
and then it
Well, I
turned
mean,
everything
like,
off.
because here's why. If you miss at 2,
Yeah.
your draft's over.
Yeah.
There's a chance you might get 2 or 3 guys, but if you miss at 2, your draft's over. Your mock draft's over.
Look at Mortensen. Isn't that great to see Chris Mortensen back on TV again?
That is.
This guy, I think it was stage 4 cancer he had.
Did he really?
You don't beat stage 4 very often.
He looks
especially the
good.
type of cancer
He looks
had.
good.
Yeah. That's awesome. They throat cancer.
Oh, McCaffrey.
All right, you guys keep up the good work. The interference may be coming actually from the television, so they say.
Okay.
But we can't turn it off. You
Yeah,
can see
that's
what's
fine.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have you in here in a little bit too.
I'll do the 11:50 to 12 slot. You guys are doing fun.
That 10 minutes.
I'll
Hey,
manage
hey,
the
give us-
social media.
Do the midnight smooth jazz shift.
Yeah, I will.
You know.
What's mine? Yeah, no,
Quiet Storm.
Quiet
Mark.
All right, hold on. Here's the Panthers. Okay, you can't make the like noise
Here
and
it
him not
comes.
be there.
He's
Come
coming.
on.
I'm out.
Who are they booing?
What do you think?
Yeah, but he's walking up with someone. I thought, is it Thomas Davis?
They're gonna boo him every time.
Is it Thomas Davis? They're booing
Did you
Thomas
see
Davis?
him say brand to him when he walked out and just open up the draft?
He could be the WWE
Here it
commissioner,
is.
man.
He's giving a speech right now on community service rather than making the pick.
I wanted to put you guys on Instagram.
Ken says O.J. Howard here. Bucks like Willis that much. He's there for the taking. It all depends, in my opinion, on how much they like him. I agree.
Agreed. Let's ask Rush Shepard what he thinks of Thomas Davis.
Christian McCaffrey.
There it is. There it is. The over-under for that one was 9.5 for Christian McCaffrey. And I told my friend, bet your house on the under.
Well,
And so now he's got 2 houses. You want a house? He's selling one. I know a guy.
I'll tell you what.
Bucs fans get to see Christian McCaffrey twice a year.
Yeah, doing a lot of things. Returning kicks, returning punts,
Yeah.
catching passes out of the backfield. He's going to be a headache.
Not a fan at all. Randy Moss, like Danny Woodhead Jr.
No, he's not Danny Woodhead Jr. He's good.
He's Ed McCaffrey Jr.
Yeah. So, first 2 running backs off the board, not Dalvin Cook. Leonard Fournette for the Jacksonville. We just saw Christian McCaffrey, number 8, to the Carolina Panthers. Interesting. O.J. Howard's still on the board. That's good news for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Also, yeah, this is crazy. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers so far. And we're at pick number 9.
I
This
mean,
is
it's
nuts.
offensive lead, man.
It is, but I wasn't expecting
I think
this.
they're going to use McCaffrey a lot more as a wide receiver. And I think, is that what you guys are saying up here? I think somebody's saying a wide receiver, but I really do think that McCaffrey's going to get used more as a wide receiver than we think he is.
Yeah.
Because I think they're still going to use Jonathan Stewart plenty this year.
Yeah.
And they
definitely has
see
some
McCaffrey and
slot receiver factor,
I mean,
like Julian Edelman, that type of guy.
exactly, man. Look what the Patriots have done for years and years and years with just Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
They put pieces. They put little pieces around. And don't get me wrong,
Right.
Gronk's great, but Gronk was hurt, and they still made it far.
Yeah.
You know.
But I tell you, he really is a matchup nightmare. If you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, and who is going to be covering him? Are you going to put Quan Alexander, your middle linebacker, on him? Are you going to put Levante David?
Thomas Davis said he announced him, I think, as wide receiver Christian McCaffrey. I think that's what somebody
Okay.
said.
Yeah. Well, he can do a lot. I mean, he's a guy that you can put in the backfield too. But yeah, he's going to be a problem for the Buccaneers, matchup wise, unless they get maybe a Buda Baker type of safety, who can do some man coverage things, or maybe an Adoree Jackson, somebody with some speed, some wiggle themselves, that can really match up with this guy well in the slot, and not just in the slot, short area, but on wheel routes down the field. This is one of those picks when you're a Bucs fan you're not really excited about, I don't think. So, yeah, I believe you, Matthew. Buda Baker would cover McCaffrey. No trouble. Why is Jonathan Allen falling so much? That's a good question from Greg DeCruz. Jonathan Allen, is the shoulder injuries? Is it because he is a little bit of a tweener? That he's an undersized defensive tackle around the 280s? Trevor?
He's not the ideal. It's, again, I think him and Solomon Thomas are the same thing. And Solomon Thomas went high because he's a good football player, and it's like, all right, well, you want to pick the good football players high, but I don't even know if I love where Solomon Thomas was picked. And so John Allen, he was a monster for Alabama, but he was playing on the inside. Where do you play him in the NFL? Do you play him as a 3-4? Do you play him as
he might be a 3-4 defensive
If
end.
he's a 3-4 defensive end, you're not picking 3-4 defensive ends high.
Right.
You're not.
Jay Hong says, who's our nickel that needs to cover the slot? Well, right now, the nickel corner on this team
Jude, right?
is Jude Ajay-Barima.
Yeah.
And Javian Elliott, who was an undrafted free agent from Florida State, looked pretty good. in the last couple of games, filling in for Jude when Jude got the suspension. But I will say this: if the Buccaneers come away with a corner, and let's say it's Adoree Jackson or Sidney Jones in the second round, Chidobe Awuzie from Colorado, if they come away with a premier cornerback in this draft, they have some flexibility because they can move Vernon Hargreaves from outside corner into the nickel, into the slot, or keep Hargreaves out there, and then whoever the rookie is bides his time for a year or two inside, competing with Jude for the slot position, and then waiting for Brent Grimes to retire. The Bucs like Ryan Smith, the 4th-round pick last year, but he's unproven at cornerback at this level.
They do really like him.
Yeah, he's the most buzzworthy guy.
Yeah, we're not just writing about that.
Yeah.
And see, Kent says he thinks that he's a 3-tech, and I agree. I think that's where he's best, Jonathan Allen.
I agree.
But he did not test well athletically for a 3-tech,
Right.
and he's about 10, 15 pounds too light.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking, all right, well, we got to put...
He's not as twitchy and
but that's what I'm
quick
saying.
as Aaron
Yeah,
Donald.
if you've got to put 10, 15 pounds on him still to play him at defensive tackle in the NFL, he already didn't test well athletically. So if you're putting more weight on him, he's not going to test better. He's not going to be better. He's going to get less athletic. So I agree, Kent, that I think he was a monster in college. Obviously, there's plenty of tape to back that up, but I don't know how well he translates in the NFL. So I don't know. We'll see. I didn't love him as a top 10 pick anyways, after the combine especially. Yeah. Right after the draft, I thought, yeah, this dude's a lock for the top 10, but then seeing how kind of like limited he was moving, I don't know. You don't draft 3-4 defensive ends in the top 10. So if that's where you're playing him, then you're not drafting in the top 10 there anyways. So pick us in for the Bengals. They have both of the wide receivers off the board. So could they go Hassan Reddick? You guys thinking Reddick here? What are you thinking?
Reuben Foster? I think maybe one of the linebackers. I think one of those two. I wanted to get back to the question here from Shanno's My Hero. Scott, I would love to hear your take on your mock. I criticized it, as did a number of people on this board, pretty heavily. Any regrets in your choices, or do you stand by them? Yeah, the only pick I didn't really wholeheartedly believe in was Tano Capasino from Villanova in the second round. Finding a defensive end there, I think that if they're going to go with Adoree Jackson in the first round, maybe Tyus Bowser from Houston, or maybe going safety and really shoring up that secondary. What if the Buccaneers were to go?
Who is this here?
I'm talking about our mock draft.
Oh, okay.
The mock draft I did. What if they went cornerback like Adoree Jackson or a Chidobe Awuzie in the first round?
Awuzie is good.
Yeah.
He's pretty high on a lot of people's boards.
Came back in the second round and got someone like a Justin Evans from Texas A&M, or another second round safety.
I know that we know that the Bucs like Evans a lot, right? I'm not so. Not a lot. I'm just saying.
I would prefer Buda Baker.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no question about that. I just think that Evans is another. I think Evans is another Wilcox. All right, hold on. Bengals picks in. You guys probably already know who it is.
Reddick or Foster is my guess.
Oh
my gosh.
3 wide receivers in the top 10?
Wow.
They're all gone. They're all gone. Oh, my goodness.
Bucs are not getting a wide receiver.
And Howard and Njoku are still there?
Yeah. Wow.
Man.
Can Andy Dalton get him the ball?
I think Andy Dalton's got a decent enough arm.
Okay.
I don't know if it's accurate, but if you put enough air into that bad boy, John Ross might be able to get there. I don't love John Ross in the top 10, and I actually didn't love him for Tampa either, even when there was a lot of talk of it being a possibility. Love his speed. I do think he's more than speed. I think he runs routes pretty well too. But that injury history, man, he's already got
Kansas City trades up to number 10. Kansas City is now on the clock.
Kansas City's on the clock?
Yep.
Who do they take?
They took Buffalo's spot.
Are they taking Mahomes?
They might want to get a quarterback, or maybe Deshaun Watson. Maybe they want to get ahead of Arizona here. A lot of talk that the Cardinals would get a wide receiver, possibly with their pick. The only problem is they're gone. So maybe now Bruce Arians, Steve Keim looks for an heir apparent to Carson Palmer, and that might be Patrick Mahomes, might be Deshaun Watson. Boy, that's
Man, when you think about it, though, A.J. Green, Tyler Eifert, John Ross,
yeah,
that's pretty fun. That's pretty fun offense.
oh yeah.
I'm all about it. As a Madden dude,
They're trying to make Andy Dalton look as good as humanly possible.
yeah. That's kind of what you talk about with these mock drafts. And you're like, hey, you're in a quarterback funk. You got your guy. He might not be exactly the guy you want, so you might as well give him as many weapons as you can.
Exactly.
Two guys are sliding. Lattimore and Hooker.
Yeah.
Like, if you get either of those guys from any point on to steal, right?
Well, O.J. Howard's there too. I mean, I wouldn't say
Yeah,
O.J.'s
Howard
sliding
too.
right now. I wouldn't say he's sliding, but I'm just
Man.
saying that he's in the prime spot to be picked.
Deshaun Jackson light. Well, Tampa's got the real Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
So
And from what I know, and I'll share this with you guys now that Ross is off the board, I don't know if the Buccaneers would have taken him at 19 because there were some real medical concerns.
they're valid, man.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at
Mark.
having the microfracture knee surgery and all of the injuries he's had, he stayed healthy last year to an extent. I mean, he is having the labrum surgery. He already had that, so he's going to be on the shelf for training camp. So he wasn't fully healthy last year, but he was healthy enough to put up 17 touchdowns and make a lot of plays to help get Washington into the playoffs. But you have to question that durability. Sorry, got to do a little bit of work here.
It's a live stream. They understand. How's Kansas City trade up to number 10? For 27 to 10. I'm interested to see what they got. I got to think it's Mahomes, right?
If you're trading up, it better be for
It's got to be
a
for. You
quarterback.
can't move 17 spots and it not be for a quarterback, right?
Yeah, what type of deal? And I'll tell you what, this may affect the Buccaneers' ability to move back. The interesting thing about this now is we haven't seen any offensive linemen go.
Oh, you're right. None.
Right, and that's not unexpected because there really aren't a lot of top 10 caliber offensive linemen. So we're still there. We're pick 10 now.
I think it's Mahomes. I think it is. I think it's really Mahomes.
Yeah.
You can't move up 17 spots and not take a quarterback.
I would agree. And I really, when you look at it's going to be Mahomes, yeah. I think I called that one. We're going to have Mahomes going. I had Mahomes going to the Texans, so I didn't have that. I thought I was going to try to steal a pick there, Trevor.
Oh,
and say
get the value.
Kansas City at
Say it was
27,
still.
but yeah, Patrick Mahomes went a lot earlier than that.
Maybe it's Webb. John, God, get out of here. Get out of here with your Davis Webb. I wonder, do you think Davis Webb goes round 1? Well, how many quarterbacks we got going now? Two.
Two.
In the top 10.
The biggest thing is where's Deshaun Watson going to go? Is he going to make it?
Somebody told me he's going. Somebody told me he might even go in the second round.
Arizona wants a quarterback.
Silly.
The Texans want a quarterback. Those are two teams that might be hot on the trail.
And you know what? This run. It's not really a run on quarterbacks at all. 2 in the top 10, and there's no wide receiver, and there's no offensive lineman taken. Not great for the Bucs because they were hoping, Denver or Seattle or another one of those teams who wanted an offensive lineman was going to see maybe 1 or 2 of them fall and be like, all right, we got to get up to go get a guy.
Well, yeah, to get a guy, but maybe if they want their guy, because the talent level is not great this year.
That's true. There could be somebody
is in
still
the eye
there.
of their beholder. If somebody wants Garrett Bowles, they're going to have to probably make a move, and the same thing with Ryan Ramczyk.
He says, Trevor, remember Ponder? Stupider things have happened than Webb. I also remember E.J. Manuel, too. Shout out to Mark Cook for both of those. Go Knowles.
Biggest question tonight: how do I get one of those sweet PR polos? Which one do you like better? Do you like the pewter with the ship logo,
It's wrong side.
or you like the PR square? This is more like our Twitter logo, or what's our Twitter logo?
I mean, now it's you. Now it's you front and center.
Yeah, I had so many people saying, "Why aren't you guys verified?" I'm like, I don't know. What do we have to do to get verified? Well, you got to switch the name and put a picture in there, and I did it, and a week later we're verified. So, PR Square. There you go. We'll see if we can't get one for you, Mark, or at least tell you how to get one. The Pewter's pimp. Chris likes the Pewter.
There you go. There you go. First round, Ponder, Locker, Gabbert. Not great. Not great.
Yeah.
But didn't Cam go number 1 that year? So I guess 1 turned out.
Yeah. And that's usually what the case is. And it looks like in 2015, when you've got Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, both of those are going to turn out pretty well. The Chiefs pick. There's Mahomes.
Woo!
There we go.
Trevor's hair, yeah, my hair should get verified. That's what I'm saying. Twitter's, man, maybe I just need to show them just like a straight picture of the braid.
I think so.
And they'll be like, wow, this guy's important.
Yeah.
He needs to be official.
I'll tell you what, as a Big 12 guy, I'm a Kansas State grad, watch a lot of Texas Tech, and, he did throw a pick 6 in that game. Kansas State was ahead either a touchdown or by 2 scores for pretty much most of that game. I'm talking about the most recent game, this past year. But the thing is Mahomes always scared you because he's such a gunslinger, such a shot taker. He's fearless. He's a really good athlete. I don't think people understand. They think he's from one of those spread offenses where they just sling the ball everywhere. The guy can run, too. He has got some ability. And he was keeping the Red Raiders all the way in it, all the way through. What's up, Zach? How you doing, man?
I wanted to stop by and say hi to you fellas.
How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
I'm telling a Patrick Mahomes story.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so...
Oh, Lord. Get out of here fast.
So
Terrible.
I'll tell you what,
Not as good as Chuck Berry.
the Red Raiders, not as good as Chuck Berry, the Red Raiders were still in it the whole way. They threw a touchdown pass. He threw a touchdown pass with like a minute left. And really earned a lot of my respect because the guy was playing like the scoreboard was 0-0 the whole game. Shrugged off the pick 6. I think Patrick Mahomes, when it's all said and done, Trevor's going to be the best quarterback out of this class. I think he's going to be better than Trubisky.
Patrick Mahomes, you're saying it?
Better than Deshaun.
It's on record, folks. He's got the arm, too. It's
He
just, it's a matter of...
I think he's got the mentality.
Can he put it together? No,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
He didn't have a slew of weapons at Texas Tech. He really did.
By the way, I think the Chiefs gave up their first-round pick next year and the third-round pick to move up.
Yeah.
Man, speaking of the team that's on the board...
Michael Fabiano. This feels like a fantasy football draft, right? And it really does.
I was just about to say...
This is a crazy draft.
This is a nightmare scenario for Bucs fans here with the Saints on at number 11 because they have O.J. Howard, Malik Hooker, and Marshawn Lattimore, even Reuben Foster and Hassan Reddick. All of those players are still here for the Saints.
Yep.
That's not good.
Yep. And sometimes when people say, oh, trade down, sometimes you can't find the trading partner. Sometimes somebody will say, yeah, come on down, but I'm not going to give you a king's ransom. I'll give you maybe the trade chart says, you got to pony up a second-round pick, and maybe a team says, we're not in a position to give up that much. Sometimes it's a lot. Let me just say this: a lot harder to trade than you think it might be. They have to agree on the compensation. They're fielding phone calls from other teams that are inquiring too. It is a hectic, 10 minutes, 7 minutes. When it gets down to 5 minutes on day 3, it's just nuts in terms of what can happen on the clock. Three and a half minutes with the Saints on the clock. It's going to be interesting because they really need some defensive help. I'm thinking secondary here, right?
Who is this?
Saints.
I don't
Lattimore.
understand how it could not be Lattimore or Hooker.
Yeah. Interesting thing about Hooker is he's quite talented. There's no doubt about it. But he got banged up a lot last year. He got dinged up a lot. He needed surgery this offseason for
Who is this?
for Malik Hooker. He needed
Yeah, he had a sports hernia and
Right.
he had a torn labrum.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, and he was only a one-year starter at Ohio State, so he got banged up. A lot of production, don't get me wrong, but
yeah, and
it's
people
just one of those
are going to say to
things.
me, "Hey, Trevor, how can you doubt John Ross and like Malik Hooker so much?" And to you, I say, "Shut up."
Dennis Allen's defense has owned the Bucs since taking over. That's actually fair to say. I think the Buccaneers really underachieved, even at home. In that home win against the Saints, it really was a defensive effort that won the Buccaneers that game. Yeah, and they just, I think the Buccaneers just kind of crapped the bed in Week 16 down there. They had an opportunity. I think they really missed Will Golston that game. And once Cam Brate was injured in the third quarter, that whole offense changed. Mike Evans got doubled.
Yeah.
And without Doug Martin.
Yeah, and that's
and really, in fairness, Rogers ran the ball pretty well, but the Buccaneers without Cam Brate became so one-dimensional, and that's why we kind of started the narrative in January about the Bucs needing another tight end, and that's why we had O.J. Howard and David Njoku in our mock drafts, because when Dirk Cutter started the season, he fully expected to have Austin Seferian-Jenkins and Cam Brate. He wanted to run a two tight end offense. Not all the time. There's going to be plenty of times there are three wide receiver sets, but you wanted to have those two options in the passing game. Ideally, I think what Dirk wanted was you get down in the red zone. You got 6'5" Vincent Jackson, 6'5" Mike Evans. You've got possibly you got 6'5" Cameron Brate.
It's some giants.
Yeah, and then maybe an O.J. Howard or David Njoku. That's how Cutter envisions that offense. And obviously AJ,
which tells you what? I think they value mismatches a lot.
Yeah,
and especially in the draft,
Yeah.
And even with Jackson, speed, mismatch. They're gonna go for a lot of different mismatch type players, and that's why we thought for the longest time, hey, tight end is a legitimate chance at 19, even with the success of Cam Brate, because we rattle off the stats. About 50, 60 catches last year went to tight ends not named Cam Brate. Imagine if those go to Howard.
Well, I don't think it was that many because
was it 40, 50 or something?
Yeah, I mean they're throwing to Luke Stocker, Brandon Myers. They're I mean, and ASJ caught a couple at the beginning. But I mean, it really was funneled to Cam Brate, and I'll tell you what. Go back to that Carolina Panthers game in Week 17. The Bucs offense stalled mightily. So the Buccaneers, I know Cam Brate's a very good player, but any player can go out at any point in time. And I'm just telling you, from my experience covering this team, when he went out in the second half of the Saints game and he missed the Carolina game, the Bucs offense became pedestrian and ordinary. And having a guy that can go in there and play alongside of him in a double tight end set,
Mark, shut up.
Or go
he
in.
Said, who's up for some Rays baseball? I'm just telling him to shut up.
Or replace him in case there's an injury. Someone that they can come in and so there's not this huge drop off.
We were having that conversation in the media room, me and somebody else. It's like, it's football. Somebody's going to get hurt.
That's right.
And even if you have two really good tight ends on the roster.
Marshawn Lattimore to the Saints.
Oh, boy, it's a nightmare.
I'm calling it right now.
That's a nightmare.
Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah, even if you have two tight ends on the roster, if they're both healthy, you figure out a game plan for them. If one of them goes down, you still have a great tight end game plan.
Speaking of tight ends, Jay Hong says Trevor has Ingram over Njoku.
Yes.
Are we sleeping on that guy compared to Jordan Reed?
Yes, I have Ingram on my Bucs big board. I have Ingram over Njoku for what I think the Bucs are thinking, and that is because when if you got to read that post, you got to hear me say that, and we've said you said this on your SR's Fab 5 as well. We think that Jason Light's going to make good picks, but more safer picks. And even though Njoku has a very high ceiling, he's only 20 years old. He's not a complete prospect. He is going to need some time to learn and put weight on and get the most out of his potential. And he could be great. I'm not saying he wouldn't. But Evan Ingram, man, you could plug Evan Ingram in next year, almost right away next to Cam Brate, and you're getting basically the same good production and speed and athleticism that you saw at Ole Miss. So I think that's why he's a little bit higher than Njoku. Marshawn Lattimore to 11 is a steal, my friends. That is a steal in this draft.
So the interesting thing here is a lot of defensive players are still available, right? You've got 2 quarterbacks selected, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers in the top 10. And so are we going to see a run on defensive players now? I mean, O.J. Howard is going to go, I would think, pretty quickly.
Cleveland's got to pick a quarterback. Right. They have to at 12 here.
Deshaun Watson?
I mean, because Trubisky went number 2, right? And not only that, the 2 quarterbacks who have gone, both been trade-ups.
Yeah.
So if you don't pick a quarterback here...
Does Davis Webb get into the first round
That's what I'm saying, man!
Does he get in the first round?
If you don't pick Watson here, you're not getting one if you're Cleveland.
Yeah, Gorilla Shop. NFC South is becoming the best division in the NFL.
It's headed that way. All 4 teams are getting better.
Who's the Alabama defensive tackle who fell last year in the draft?
Ashawn Robinson or Jaron Reed, one of the 2.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of either one.
I think John Allen's better than both of those guys, but
he's still on the board.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Saints pick that helps Tampa Bay the most.
Not the one they just made.
Yeah.
There really was not a bad direction the Saints could have gone. If they picked Lattimore, if they picked Hooker, even if they picked Howard, Reddick, Foster, whoever it was, like the Saints were going to get better whoever they picked. So
if Deshaun Watson ends up going, or even Davis Webb, boy, I can't even believe that. I mean, this draft is falling.
How about Josh Dobbs? Somebody said he's QB3 on somebody's board.
This draft,
you had him as one of your late picks, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, logically,
right.
That's what we tried to do.
Yeah. Again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder in this draft. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think that this is a draft where there's going to be so much consensus, or I should say, not much consensus. There's going to be a lot of reports coming out where teams will tell reporters, I can't believe so and so picked so and so. I can't believe this team picked that player. But I think opinions are all over the board when it comes to this draft. No doubt about it. You guys having fun out there? This is pretty fun. Because usually we're doing this in the media room, and we're just kind of like, shooting stuff and just having this type of conversation in there, watching the draft. And here we get to share some knowledge and insight and hopefully entertain you when the man bun over here freaks out over his guy Corey Davis and others.
That was about as genuine as it gets.
Raw reaction.
That was about as genuine as it gets.
That.
I've been defending Corey Davis for a long time, so to hear his name called there, and I thought that there was no way that was going to happen. Browns just traded to the Texans.
This is going to be a quarterback.
The Browns aren't going to draft the quarterback.
Yeah. Wow.
The Browns are going to go into... Who's your quarterback right now? I don't know. What is Cleveland doing? So now Cleveland's picking 25 and 33. So they got Myles Garrett. They must really like the way that things are shaping up, but...
Kevin Hogan, Cody Kessler.
Jesus,
They got Brock Osweiler.
Oh, my gosh. They just traded out of the last spot they could possibly get a quarterback.
Unless they like Davis Webb or another quarterback.
Man.
Maybe they want Josh Dobbs. Who knows? While we're waiting for
another,
this pick,
It's not
he's
for
told
a quarterback?
It's not for a quarterback.
How are you giving up a first-round pick in the next year for these?
Adam Schefter just said it's not for a quarterback. Holy smokes. This is quite the leap for the Texans. I mean, is Bill O'Brien feeling some heat? He has to be feeling some heat. If he's going to mortgage next year's number 1 pick to move up, who is this for? Dalvin Cook? O.J. Howard? Jonathan Allen?
I mean, their defense was number 1 in the NFL last year, so
I'm just saying, I'm trying to find the blue chip guy that you traded that far up for. Help me.
Yeah.
Browns quarterback Shane Falco. O.J. Howard? OJ, is that who you're thinking? Mark Dominic had a very good tweet that I just retweeted.
Yes.
This is why the Saints didn't trade the number 11 pick to New England for Butler, the cornerback, for Malcolm Butler. Great patience by the Saints. Definitely agree with that.
Yeah, no. It's patience pays off, man.
Yeah. Gosh, this is
somebody
a fun draft.
Somebody just said
This is
Houston's
so much fun.
Somebody just said Houston's trading up for Nate Peterman. Nice.
Todd McShay says,
it's not happening.
Houston trades up from number 25 to number 12. I was told Texans coach Bill O'Brien fell in love with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Deshaun, right? Adam Schefter just said it wasn't a QB.
Yep. It is Deshaun Watson.
Okay,
Deshaun Watson.
Thank
Yep,
you.
it is Deshaun Watson.
Oh, my Lord. No.
It is Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
Browns get a haul at number 25. They get the Texans' first-round pick next year. Yeah. Third quarterback taken in 12 picks. Trevor.
All 3 trade-ups.
Yes. Wow, this is crazy. Yeah, we're having some people that are just clamoring for Mark Cook to get in here and get on this podcast. So what I'm going to do...
Tell him to get in here.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to step out and take a break, and I'm going to jump on Twitter and answer some questions and be a little bit more interactive there. We're going to bring Mark Cook in, because then when the Buccaneers pick, you and Mark are going to go in there and do the Jason Light press conference and do the video conference call with that, and one of you guys will come back and tell us live what was said and all of that. So I'm going to step out for a bit.
Are we
it's
at
9:35.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you could say maybe 3 in the top 10, but 3 in the top 12, all 3 of them being trade up. That's that's pretty much peak quarterback.
Yeah.
So
our good friend Matt over in London, the Browns like picks more than winning. They're just like collecting draft picks. That's great.
All right, let's actually hear him say the name Deshaun Watson. There it is. There it is. I like it. I like it, friends.
I tell you what, the interesting thing is, if you would have told Deshaun Watson, if you would have said, you know what, you're going to be the 12th pick in this draft a couple hours ago, before the draft started, if you would have said, Deshaun, you're going to be the 12th pick, he might be thinking, I might be the first quarterback off the board.
Yeah. I think his immediate follow-up question would be, which QB's got picked before me?
Right.
Yeah, that's the first question.
Or at number 12, he's thinking, oh, I'm the Browns quarterback.
Yeah.
They picked Myles Garrett.
Yeah, that's true.
Then there's players that are picked, and then here come the Browns at number 12, and I'm the first quarterback off the board. I'm going to Cleveland. Nope. You're going to Houston. Wow. Crazy, crazy night. I'm going to answer a couple questions, and I'm going to turn this over to Mark Cook here.
Yeah, fire away. If we got any questions on there, we haven't asked.
Boy, people are liking the PR Square show. We get this on the live chat. We've got a couple people here.
All right, Chris, hold on. Say, Chris, what's your percentage of the likelihood that Howard falls at this point? I mean, he's already here at 12. The Eagles are... I'm trying to think of teams that are going to take him. I don't think the Ravens are going to take him.
Who are we talking about?
Redskins. How far does Howard drop?
Yeah.
Eagles might go Cook, or they might go Howard. I think Colts go pass rusher. Baltimore is going to go. They are Dennis Pitta, so they're not going to take O.J. Howard.
Well, no. Dennis Pitta is at the end of his career.
How old is he?
He's had hip problems.
Oh, they might take him then. Well, with 3 wide receivers going,
Ozzie Newsome is running the draft in Baltimore. Okay.
That's true.
Hall of Fame tight end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he might. Yeah. That might be his stopping point there.
Yeah. That would make.
Oh my goodness.
That would make my son.
Are the Buccaneers really going to have a chance to take Malik Hooker?
They might. That's crazy.
Oh my goodness.
If O.J. Howard does go to the Ravens, my son is going to be.
Would the Bucs trade up for Howard? I don't think the Bucs are going to trade up for anybody, but I don't know. I just don't. I know the draft's going crazy right now, but I don't know. I just don't think Jason Light loves his picks in this draft, and if anything, he would want to get more.
Yeah.
Never say never, though. Did you have any questions on that?
I'll tell you right now, there is a pool of players that have not come off the board that are high on the Buccaneers list, so they're sitting pretty right now. They really are. Could Hooker and Howard end up at pick 19.
Yes, at this point.
Yeah, possible, but I do not see O.J. Howard sliding past Baltimore. I just don't. Joe Flacco needs help in the passing game. My son Logan, unfortunately, is a Ravens fan. The interesting thing is he is also an Auburn Tigers fan. He hates Alabama with a passion. So the moral dilemma that he would get getting a talented player like O.J. Howard that went to Alabama, that would be so funny. I mean, we're talking about a lot of offensive players that have been taken, and we're talking about these defensive players sliding here. How far is Jonathan Allen going to fall?
I don't know, man. Yeah, that's an interesting question as well. Yeah. Oh, did you see questions on the red board we need to get to?
There were more comments than questions. Let's see. Having a good time. Appreciate that. I'm a Bucs fan.
It is a really surprising draft, isn't it? But that's why it's fun, man. That's why we wanted to. That's why we wanted to do this. That's why we wanted to do this a live cast with you guys. Is because I want to see you guys freak out. You get to see us kind of freak out and wonder. Because like Scott said, usually we're all just sitting in the media room anyway, so the Bucs pick. But man, I'm so much more of a draft fan overall.
Right.
Even with my job, caring about who the Bucs pick, and so I know you guys are that way too. You care about football as a whole.
All right, so how about the Cardinals here? They're on the clock.
Yes.
They got 4 minutes. They need to go defense. So all the receivers are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they go. The problem is if you go O.J. Howard, and I don't know how much of a 2 tight end set that Bruce Arians likes to run, but they just re-signed their tight end, whose name escapes me. He was in
Jermaine Gresham.
Jermaine Gresham, yes, thank you. He was. Had a good year last year. And
play enough Madden, you'll know enough names, folks.
Yeah. So that would be interesting if they went that direction. They just gave him a bunch of money. And do you go O.J. Howard to see the best player available, the best player on the board? Don't know. So we've got the plank loaded up here, too, on pewterreport.com. Another way you can interact with us. I've got that pulled up. This live video stream, we're getting some incredible numbers here. Literally hundreds of people on board right now. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, you guys
Very
are awesome.
Cool. Yes, you guys are Pewter Nation, and we want to thank you for your support. This is going to be exciting to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pick. And if they do pick, I mean, what happens if they...
Somebody just asked me, I think it's Dalvin Cook? And for the first time, I got to say, with the board the way it is, I have no idea. Because we thought a lot more of these players would be off the board by this point. And that's why, picking Buda Baker or, say, a Dory Jackson makes a lot of sense when you're sitting at 19.
Right.
But if you're sitting there at 19 and we're possibly talking about Malik Hooker and O.J. Howard being on the board too.
I'll tell you what, I don't see O.J. Howard getting to Tampa Bay because John Robinson at number 18. I'm just saying, he would take him for Marcus Mariota.
Who did they got Delaney Walker, though.
Oh, I know, but he's, I think, 36 years old.
Delaney Walker?
I think so. Yeah.
No
I'm
way.
gonna look it up right now.
36?
Or maybe 34.
There's no way. I think he was top 5 tight end not too long ago.
32, sorry. Actually, he'll be 33 this August, so. Yeah, he's no spring chicken.
The pick is in for the Cardinals. Yes, it is. Walker's 32. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, fact check us, too. Make sure if we're saying something that's completely incorrect. Mark said you're welcome. I'm not even going to scroll up to see what he said you're welcome to. It's just not even worth it. Yeah. Mark's a friend of mine. I actually know him, so that's why I'm giving him crap.
Sean Steele brings up a good point. Trade down with who? So many have traded up, plus lots of good players have almost fallen to us. Trade down for the opposite of those two scenarios. So here's what I would say.
Yes.
We haven't had the run on offensive linemen yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming. And the teams that are stacked behind the Buccaneers, starting really with Denver at number 20, Miami Dolphins, New York Jets. Those are some teams. Seattle Seahawks.
Giants.
I'm sorry, what did I say? Jets?
Yeah,
the Giants. Seattle Seahawks. Those are teams that need offensive linemen.
All teams that need offensive linemen. So.
And Forrest Lamp, Garrett Bowles, Ryan Ramczyk, Cam Robinson. Those are 4 guys right there that you could see teams jockeying for position for. So Tampa Bay could be in a sweet spot at 19 where that run could start. Now, the other thing is John Robinson likes to trade too, and you could see him put that pick at number 18 up for auction. So you get 1 pick closer to getting one of those players. So the number 19 pick may not be as desirable unless John Robinson wants to stick there at 18. And my guess is, and I almost wrote this too, I think John Robinson is going to punk the Buccaneers. He's going to take a player, whether it's O.J. Howard or Dory Jackson,
Right before him.
that the Buccaneers
Right before
wouldn't
him.
want to take,
Yeah.
or even Buda Baker. I could see John Robinson punking his good friend, mentor, Jason Light.
I guess so. I know what this is. The Cardinals really, really wanted Deshaun Watson, and that is why the Texans moved up to the 1 spot
Yep.
and paid the first round.
Yep.
Because the Cardinals were going to take him here at 13. Instead, they're taking Hassan Reddick, a linebacker
Makes sense.
from Temple. So, man, why did? Hey, somebody said, "Where's Mark?" You gotta appease these
Yep.
people.
I'm going to bow out.
You gotta give them what they
Mr.
want.
Cook, if you're listening, you can report to the interview room.
Jason Light has already jumped in the pool. That's funny.
That is good. 3rd string kicker. Nice to see you.
Yeah, Sean, exactly.
Your face is tight. This is
Exactly.
cool.
It's the Hargraves thing, except a little farther back in the draft. You know, you might not think even moving back 1 spot from the Broncos might not be a big deal, but if you're over here kind of wheeling and dealing, saying, "Hey, the Giants might be moving up to us too," then you're still getting a good trade up from the Broncos, even though it's only 1 spot. You get a couple picks here and there that allows you to move a lot in day 2. And I really think that Jason Light wants to have a lot of cards, or chips at least, to be able to move around in day 2 the most,
Yeah.
because I think that he likes day 2 a lot.
Yeah, I agree. And it's either moving around, Trevor, or it's just stockpiling some picks.
Sure.
You know, I mean, this could be a situation where Jason has the opportunity to get, 8 or 9 players rather than just 7 in this year's draft. And, we couldn't find a spot in our final mock draft for a quality offensive lineman the way that we did the mock. And you might pick the mock apart, that's fine. But I'm just saying the way that I did it, really couldn't find quality offensive linemen, couldn't find a spot for a backup quarterback. That might be something that the Buccaneers want to do.
What do you got there?
Meat lovers, I think. I don't know what it is. Been picking the bacon off.
Yeah, Mark Cook, the pizza man, shows up. Mark, you want to?
I'm good.
No.
No, I'm
I'm going to bow out.
No, I'm good.
Nope.
No, I don't mind.
Your audience wants to see you.
No
We're
one
getting
wants to see
all
me.
of these.
There's
these,
one person that said it,
There's
that's
been
what I'm
plenty of people saying, "Where is Mark Cook?" So I'm going to turn this over to Mark Cook. I'll be back in right around the time the Buccaneers pick to take over, and you guys can handle that
You want a
selection.
piece of this?
No, thank you.
Do you want a piece of this? Trevor?
Maybe.
I am taking
Maybe.
the computer though, so if you want a computer to take a look at, you got to bring your own.
I got
I
my,
don't need a computer.
what do we got here?
I got it all in my head. I'll be right back. I gotta grab a drink. Keep
Okay.
going, Trevor. You're doing well.
All right. So, you better come back. You better
I'll
not
be
just
back.
like go get a drink
Don't
and
worry.
then just
I'll see
hang
you
out.
11:50.
Jeez. I'm gonna not eat. I'm trying to not eat on the microphone. Yo, the food here. I'll just tell you guys. Scott has to go take a nap. Thank you, John. Is Hooker worth trading up for? Jay asks. The price tags that we have seen from certain teams for even not the quarterbacks, just to move around, that's probably too much. Because I don't think right now it would take a 2nd round pick at least. It would take a 2nd round pick and probably one other pick to move up to really any of these teams. And I just don't think Jason Light's going to do that. I think that he wants to draft in the 2nd round, and to move up for Hooker, you might have to get rid of both of your picks in the 2nd round, or not in the 2nd round. Sorry, 2nd day of the draft. So, is the War Room at One Buc Place as well? Yes, it is. It is right above me. So these are where their offices are. This is where Jason Light is. This is where a lot of the conversations and the phone calls happen. So it is all right here in this building. I can feel it. That's how I'm getting my insider information. I got a wire going up to the air duct in the air vent. I'm like listening to it. I got like a radio thing. I'm just guessing. I knew he had food. Pizza over wings. I'm much more of a wing guy myself, but you gotta take what's given to you. Here, look. I mean, I'm not gonna say no to that. The Bucs are treating us well. So this is my first draft, obviously, that I've had here because this is my first year at Pewter Report, and I was talking about I didn't even know what they did on draft day, and I was saying like, do you want me to like get food or stuff for you guys before? And they're like, no, it's all catered. And I was like, oh, it's catered. They care that much about it. So if Philly takes Dalvin, we're even for the Rondé pick 6. I know many of you Florida State people. Does one Buc Place have good barbecue? I wish I knew. They're not serving any. I would gladly have barbecue right now. Let's see. Who are the Eagles taking? Are the Eagles going to spoil it for us?
They're going to take Dalvin.
You think they're going to take Dalvin?
I'm afraid they're going to take Dalvin.
A Temple player went before any Alabama or Florida State player. Florida player, too. I wasn't a jab at you. You're just reading a tweet. Just reading a tweet. That's what I'm saying. Just reading tweets.
It's weird seeing myself do things 3 seconds later than I do them.
Yeah. Well, everyone, Mark Cook is here. John Allen. $40 a slice. Can we get Nick Carter a live dial-in? We might be able to do that tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess with it tonight.
I'll tell you what Nick says after the pick is made.
We got too much.
We will talk to Nick.
Yeah, we got too much stuff going on here. Eagles pick is in.
Who is it?
I'm going to tell you in a second. Don't see it yet. I just see that it's in. Eagles have selected Derek Barnett.
Wow.
So there you go. Pass rusher, huh?
Well, I mean, this is really setting things up for Jason Light. Number one, to have somebody fall in his lap who he absolutely didn't expect to be there. Or have teams.
I think there's going to be a bunch of guys that he didn't think was going to be there. I mean, O.J. Howard's still on the board.
And that's the question, though. If O.J. Howard's there, you take him. You got to take him.
Yeah.
You got it. It's not even a question. I think you got to take him. So, and I wonder if Dalvin's there, what he's going to do. I think the Colts probably. Where are we at right now?
The next pick after the Eagles is going to be, it's going to be the Colts.
Kim just told me to cheer up. I look like I am half asleep or someone killed my cat. So, cheer up.
It's just how, I mean, like, this is how he is when we're doing the podcast, too. But that's why he's the moderator.
Right.
He's just the even keel guy.
I am laid back, Stan. Actually, it's I'm 46, so
who do they
this
got?
is past my bedtime.
Who do they got? Who are all these people?
There.
It's a high school
There's
football
your
team.
answer.
It's a football team.
There's your answer. All right, so that's 14. Gives 4 more picks before the Bucs are on the clock. Give us the best left, Trevor. I mean, the best available right now.
Who are the best available?
Yeah, like Kuiper does.
O.J. Howard, obviously. Malik Hooker, obviously.
Wow.
Charles Harris, I think, would be another guy. Evan Ingram is another guy.
You have Ingram over Njoku?
I do for the Bucs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was explaining to them a little bit earlier that the reason I have that is because we've heard Jason Light say the word safe a couple of times. And not that Njoku's like has a red flags or his character dirty or anything like that, but with Njoku, he's only 20 years old. and he's still farther away from his potential as probably that they would like for their first-round pick to be, because they're close to the playoffs, right?
Plus, you really hated him at his pro day. You
Oh,
really wrote a scathing article about how
Just
lazy he was.
Bashed him.
No, but I mean, that made an impression on me. And if you're seeing this, and obviously the other scouts and all of them also saw that, I mean, this is your opportunity to shine. I don't know how you aren't going 125% of this. And again, I'm the FSU robot or whatever you want to call it. But you watch Dalvin Cook at his pro day, and
Was he going
makes
all out?
Yeah,
I
he's
mean, he
running
didn't have to
20,
run the
30
40,
yards down
yeah.
the field.
See,
you know what
and
I mean?
that's what I want to see, man.
Right.
That leaves a really
Right.
great impression in a
Right.
workout.
Right.
So,
Can I take this out of the thing and hold it and sit back? 'Cause
You can,
'cause my
absolutely.
back's killing me. Can I do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see how this is going to look on camera.
I can adjust it too. So
No, I don't need to be on camera necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, apparently there's like 2 people out there that want to see me.
I mean, it's your Florida State faithful, right?
No.
That's just how it goes. Yeah, Foster's another one. Foster's another guy who.
Foster. Wow. I mean, this is just insane. I can't even believe the amount.
So
of
who's
players.
really off the Bucs board is what Jay is asking. If you ask me, again, we go back to Jason Light talking about that word safe, and he brought it up multiple times. He said safe. There are plenty of safe, clean football players who are in this draft that could be potential picks for the Buccaneers. And so, I don't think Foster's even really in consideration for this team. I don't even think Mixon's in consideration for this team. I know they brought him in for a private visit, but like Scott has been saying the last couple of times, I just because you're in for a private visit doesn't mean that things went well. And because they didn't get to talk to Mixon at the Combine, they didn't really have anybody there at his pro day. I think that was more of them doing their full due diligence and getting him in there for a first time. So I would say that Mixon's probably off their board too. Garyon Conley, I read earlier today that he's still going to get picked in the first round. It's not going to be by Tampa, I don't think.
Well, I mean, it depends on how all of the situation comes out. I mean, you're hearing more and more today that this was, this looks kind of shady a little bit. Again, you gotta let the law play out and the witnesses and those things like that. But apparently, there was a video of her being somewhere where she said she was with him at the time. That would be a tremendous pick because he was a guy that before this controversy happened. Where did you have him?
Who is this?
Conley.
Conley's probably the second best corner in the class.
You know.
So top 15, top 20 for sure.
Right.
So I guess if you believe his side of the story,
right,
you're still going to pick him top 20. I guess.
Yeah, but I think if we're going to go safe, as Jason said, then I think there's going to be safer guys available.
I just think that there are Jason Light guys in this draft,
right.
And even if some people
you mean Nebraska offensive lineman like he was?
Yes.
Yeah,
so basically Ryan Ramczyk.
Yeah.
Ryan Ramczyk, future Buccaneer.
The Bucs are not taking offensive linemen.
Do the Bucs like Malik Hooker?
Yes.
Yes.
Who doesn't like Malik Hooker? And who doesn't like hookers in general? Well, I shouldn't say that.
I've been able to use that joke so many times this draft season.
This is my first time using it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does it feel good?
No.
Okay.
No, it felt contrived and weight put on.
But I mean, that's
you set it up for me perfectly, though.
Right, but that's your kind of humor. You do this stuff in the podcast all the time. This is basically just a 4 or 5 hour whatever this is podcast. So this
somebody
fits your
just
brand.
said Mark Cook shops at Kmart. What does that even mean? I'm wearing a Pewter
Who
Report
said
shirt,
that?
And I'm wearing David Kahn bespoken slacks.
Oh man,
that cost more than a lot of people's whole wardrobes. Let me just say, if he wasn't a sponsor, I wouldn't be able to afford these pants. But anyway.
Somebody just said Warren Sapp loves hookers.
Yes, he does. Well, no, actually he doesn't. It was proven that he does not like them.
Oh, right. Well, you're right. I guess if we go full...
Tosses them out of the room and stuff.
Man, I can't see the... Marlon Humphrey.
Kmart Big Lots. I don't shop at Big Lots either. Is that directed at me, Sean Steele? What did I do wrong?
Oh, man. Who is... All right, I'm trying to...
Somebody said, I follow Cook on Twitter and steal his jokes. That's an honor. I don't even mind.
Everybody's got their followers, man.
The only thing I don't like is when people steal my Instagram photos and don't give me credit. This is a true story, I had a Buccaneer cheerleader that I'm friends with on Facebook.
And now I'm interested.
Use my Instagram photo. It's game day. it was a picture of the flag that I
Mhm.
took at training camp, and
Mhm.
it's just one of those lucky shots with the sun behind it
Sure.
and all the right filters.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? I mean, do I say anything? What do you do? I mean, she's a Buccaneer cheerleader,
You
but that
know-
doesn't give her a right to steal photos.
Oh, I thought. Oh, you're saying.
Yeah, she lifted my Instagram photo and put it on her Facebook page.
Oh, I mean, I would have said that's the opportunity to shoot your shot.
Well, I mean, I'm 46 and she's 21. There's no shots to be shot in.
I mean,
Is that
no,
right?
no, that attitude.
To shot it. I don't even know.
To shoot? Not
What?
that attitude.
Let's get some pics going on here. Come on.
They go to commercial all the time. Hold on, let me try to see if.
I'm trying to look more alert and awake because I'm sitting on sleep. Yes. Leave Cookie alone. Thank you very much, Chris. Haha, Mark Cook takes so much heat. I really do, but I'm kind of one of those self-deprecating humor guys. Is that something? I don't know. I like to make fun of myself.
Colts are taking the lead Cooker.
Now they're saying I have a fantastic Sam's haircut. That is actually not true. It is a Great Clips haircut. I had a coupon. But look, I can go full-on Nick Carter with it. I can, go with the
Look
faux
at that.
hawk.
Look at that.
I mean, I can't roll a man bun.
Not many can.
I have in the
Not
past.
many can.
No, I take that back. I've never had a man bun because I'm a 46-year-old man. But I've had hair long enough that I could have put it in a man bun.
I think I just read that Indy's about to pick Malik Hooker. Hold on, let's see.
Wow. The Bucks are going to be on the clock with Dalvin Cook on the board.
Yep.
Insane.
And they're not going to pick him. There you go.
Is this hair any better, anybody? No?
Yeah, now it's got some style. Now we're talking.
I do go to Fantastic Sam's a lot of times because there's usually no wait. Problem with Fantastic Sam's is when you go there, there's usually a new person working there because it's kind of the training ground, I think. But if Fantastic Sam's is listening, we would love to have you aboard as a sponsor and partner here at Pewter Report. Just contact me, Mark at pewterreport.com. Or anybody else for that matter. Yeah, Howard too, man. Gosh, what about Allen? What do you do if Allen's there? Drive to Philly?
Not draft him.
Why?
I wouldn't pick Allen. He's not big enough to play defensive tackle.
Why did Mox have him in the top 5 all over the place?
Not recently. They haven't.
Well, I did.
I
think in my mock.
Yeah, your mock's still going to be better than mine, anyways. And I had Jonathan Allen going like 16 or something. So, he's not big enough to play 3-tech, and he's not fast enough to play edge. So he can't play. So he doesn't really fit well as an interior guy in a 4-3 or as a edge guy in a 4-3. So then he must be a 3-4 defensive end, and you're not picking 3-4 defensive ends high. Those are just run stoppers.
Thank you, Ken Grant, who noticed that I have a pretty legendary cowlick. Appreciate that. Somebody said, I like your delivery, Mark. You're made for NFL live draft streams. Except if only it wasn't a photo. If we didn't have photos.
Hold on. Somebody just asked, how heavy was Aaron Donald coming out? Aaron Donald was 6'2", 275, 278.
No, he was not 6'2". He's short. He's shorter than that.
Is he
Look him
6'1"?
up. Yeah, that was kind of the knock on him being a little shorter.
All right.
I think.
So maybe he was 6'1", like 270. But here's the thing. You can't make Aaron Donald the example. Aaron Donald is so much the outlier for that. You can't look at a guy. And plus, Aaron Donald tested way better athletically.
Well,
John Allen's just not athletic.
I mean, I haven't been to every Senior Bowl since the 90s.
Not athletic.
But Aaron Donald had probably the quickest get-off.
Yes, that's why
faster than
he's
Gerald
good.
McCoy, and he might have been, in the John Randall / Warren Sapp.
He's unbelievable.
He's tremendous, and I believe he was close to 290 when he was. I
don't think he was.
We were really high on him.
I don't think he was.
We were really high on him because
Aaron Donald's 6 foot. So no, he's 6'1", 285. So he was probably 6'1", 280.
Measured 6'1" and 285 at the combine. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, there you go.
But the guy, is a beast. We saw him at the Senior Bowl, and I'm sure there were some guys that just, when you go to the Senior Bowl, and you went this year, Trevor. I was at the Pro Bowl, but when you see guys that just stand out, they just look like they're the varsity versus the JV guys, and that was how Aaron Donald.
That was Aaron Donald.
Week. Yeah. I mean, he just was tremendous.
Put me on the payroll. Chris, he helps out with a lot of stuff, so yeah.
Fisher, give me some beer. Why didn't you bring us some beer? He runs a tremendous podcast himself.
Yeah, he does.
And he's a good dude.
Somebody said Gruden's burying Hooker. We couldn't hear him. What was he saying about it? Were you guys listening?
Oh gosh,
burying him. Why?
Of me. We don't want to see
Just,
that. I meant to bring my Seminoles hat in for when the Dalvin Cook pick comes in.
Oh,
for the
just
Bucs. I was
you
going to
can
put it
throw it
on
on.
like I was like a college recruit.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
A high school recruit
yeah.
picking my school. But I left it in the car, I think. I don't know. I just got an alert from CNN. If anybody's listening, President Trump says there's a chance the U.S. could have major military conflict with North Korea. Oh, that's good. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to get political here, Trevor.
Oh,
but
here
if
we
any
go.
of these politicians screw up my football season with war, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the same thing of weddings, right? You don't schedule a wedding during football season?
Ask Derek Fournier about that. I think he missed a Bucs game last year because of a wedding. Maybe it wasn't last year. Maybe it was the year before.
If you're out there and you're potentially getting married soon, do not let your wedding be during football season.
No.
You have plenty of things to not do in the off season. Just get married in the off season. It's not that hard.
Can I give some advice? Just don't get married. Just don't. I mean, wait till you're like 40, maybe.
I mean, this guy can't go this dark.
I just leaned forward again. That's
we
not
just
a good
got.
one. Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you this because I wasn't in here and I wasn't listening to you guys all the time.
Of course.
Back in the media studio. The run on quarterbacks. Mahomes going where he went, Deshaun where he went. What were your thoughts on that from your evaluation of the quarterbacks? Not that we spend a lot of time because, look, there's no need for you and Scott to spend a lot of time evaluating quarterbacks.
Right.
We know that's one position the Bucs aren't going to be picking early.
Right. I don't think this quarterback class is as bad as other people said that it was. I didn't think that it was elite. I didn't think Mitch Trubisky was, I don't know, like has the talent to go number 2. But it's quarterback league, so it makes sense. It totally makes sense.
But did and I think you did talk about this. I heard this part, but boy, John Lynch sure made his mark as a general manager by totally
first thing you do is trade back,
crushing the Bears.
Yeah,
and then they still got the guy they wanted all along.
That is how you win the draft. Is when you still can acquire draft picks and get the exact guy that you wanted.
All right, your thought on Mahomes? I know Scott was telling a story about it and I left, but tell me your thought on him.
I like Mahomes a good deal, and I actually really like him going with Andy Reid because Andy Reid is a guy who can work with quarterbacks who are pretty unorthodox. We saw it a lot with Donovan McNabb. We've seen him make Alex Smith at least a little bit better, but I think that Mahomes is much more of the mold of getting the most out of like an Andy Reid kind of system and offense. People think that he is just another air raid quarterback, and he's not. He's super unorthodox,
right.
And that is something to be somewhat worried about. But it's only something to be worried about if his mentality breaks down and he makes it a problem with his decisions. He can still fling the ball fast and wherever he needs to, even with his weird mechanics. Mm-hmm. Sure, they're probably going to clean that up a little bit, but it's only going to be bad if his decision-making is bad, and I think Andy Reid helps that a lot.
Looking at the success rate in college of Deshaun Watson going last in this quarterback run, played in 2 straight national championship games, won the last one. What were the knocks on him? I heard something about maybe arm velocity a little bit.
Hold on one sec. Ravens are about to pick.
This could be Dalvin Cook.
There's no way.
Could be. I hate looking at TV because then you guys see my profile with my 9 chins.
I don't see any tips, so I don't know who this is. Oh, Marlon Humphrey.
Wow. 2 more positions, and then the Bucs are on the clock. What's your thoughts on the talk of Alabama players not being as successful in the NFL because they tend to plateau in college? Is there anything to that in your mind?
No, I mean I don't know.
I mean, why would they? I mean, I understand Nick Saban runs a semi-NFL program there.
Yeah, it's
he
basically
pays his
a
players
factor,
better than some Other schools
You
do.
could just get away.
kidding.
You could just get. Not. You're not.
I know.
You could just get away with so much more at Alabama. You can be hyper aggressive at Alabama, and it still work because everybody there is basically more athletic than anyone that they're facing. In the NFL, it just straight up doesn't work. So some of these guys get exposed when they go to the NFL.
Right.
Obviously, not all of them. There's no point in saying, oh well, all Bama guys are gonna fail or
because there's been some success.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I like Marlon Humphrey. I think I might have liked him more as a safety, but hey, I don't know. He was fast. He was faster than I thought he was going to be at the combine, and when he ran a 4.41, that kind of convinced me that all right, maybe he could play corner. So I know he's really aggressive for a cornerback, but
All right, all of our guys on our live chat right now. Let's just say O.J. Howard and Dalvin Cook is there. Quick vote.
Yeah. Who are you picking, O.J. Howard or Dalvin Cook?
I'll tell you who I'm picking. I'm picking O.J. Howard.
Wow.
I do. Now, I'm not one of those people that subscribe to the fact that, you can get a great running back in the third round or fourth round, and then they point to, Howard, and they point to, Arian Foster and guys, like a guy like him who wasn't even drafted. Thomas Bassinger from the St. Pete Times put out a really good article and stat, but I screenshotted one of his tweets. Think you can draft a running back late? Since 2012, 61 players have rushed for 1,000 yards. 79% of those were drafted no later than the 103rd. Now, that doesn't mean they have to be first-round guys, but saying that you can find, an elite running back in the 5th or 6th round on a consistent basis is like saying you can find a Tom Brady in the 6th round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There's a reason Christian McCaffrey went where he did. There's a reason Leonard Fournette went number 4. There's a reason that Dalvin Cook is rated as a first-round running back versus a guy like Marlon Mack, who's a third-round.
You were right.
Guy.
You were right. But first-round picks also get a lot more leniency in the NFL. They get a lot more time to learn. Whereas if you're a third-round pick and you don't stick on in your first year, which when you think about it, let's face it, all rookies should probably get some learning curve to them. First-round pick, you're going to invest a lot more time into growing them and making them the best that they can be, whatever they are, than later-round guys. So
right, scroll back down. We're getting votes. Let's read some of these.
Oh, sorry. Redskins on the clock. Pick is already in. All right. Well, hold on. I'm gonna try and see.
Looks like it's Howard overwhelmingly.
Yeah, everybody's saying O.J. Howard. I'm just so nervous.
Dalvin Cook has got to be the pick. He will touch the ball more than O.J. Howard, and I do agree with that. But I just think I do think that you can get a good running back in the 2nd or 3rd round, and that's still within the 100 that Thomas mentions in his tweet. And but you can't get. I mean, you could potentially, but an opportunity to get O.J. Howard, who was my favorite tight end by far in this draft, really impressed me with the ability. He's probably the best.
I tweeted this 1 minute ago. There's 85 responses.
Wow. No, you did. Scott Reynolds did. We're all tweeting from that account, by the way. So when they're funny, humorous, clever tweets, it's me and Trevor.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to take all the credit for the good ones.
Right.
I just asked on Twitter, guys, the same question that I asked you. That we asked. If it's Cook or Howard, who do you take? And within 60 seconds, we have over 100 responses to it on Twitter already. You guys are going crazy.
One of the things the arguments that I hear all the time is the shelf life of a running back in the NFL, and that's very true. I mean, the average life expectancy of an NFL player, and I shouldn't say life expectancy, that's not fair, but career expectancy is just under 4 years. Maybe even less for running backs for the pounding they take. But Jason Light isn't worried about, the team 5 or 10 years down the road. He's got to win football games now, or he's not going to be here to see these things. And if you find a running back or a tight end or a wide receiver or somebody on offense that you think is going to be a dynamic playmaker, and I just believe they've got to give Jameis Winston more weapons on this offense. I love Deshaun Jackson. That's great. But the running game, I am scared to death about. And really, another tight end just really opens things up because that Dirk Cutter is the mad scientist in the laboratory.
You want me to tell you who Washington picks?
Yes.
It's Jonathan Allen.
This is going to get
One
very
of two
interesting in a
players
couple
will be
picks.
available for the Buccaneers: Dalvin Cook and O.J. Howard.
Wow.
All right. So Hooker is gone.
Hooker's gone.
Allen, I believe, is gone.
Right.
Let's say the Titans take O.J. Howard. The Bucs are basically at the same spot they were thought we would be with all those players falling. They're gonna take Buddha?
I don't think they take a safety there. I think at that point, if they're not going to take Dalvin Cook, I think they're looking to move down. And there's a ton of offensive linemen. None of them have went yet. Therefore, there's going to be some teams that are going to want an offensive lineman, teams that are desperate for linemen. And I think one of those guys is the guy that can move up to that 19th pick and take him. I don't know that anybody behind him. I mean, there are people who would love to have Dalvin Cook, not necessarily at 19, so I don't know anybody moves up for Dalvin Cook with the Buccaneers. But I do see the teams in need of offensive linemen working to make a deal with the Buccaneers to pick up one of the 3 or potential 4, what we thought before this draft as first-round guys. I don't know that you're going to see 4 guys. There's not that many picks left. You could, but we'll see. Scott said he was going to come in before the Bucs pick, so hopefully he comes soon. And as I was saying, and Chris brought up a good point, Cutter loves tight ends. And he's the mad scientist, right? I mean, he doesn't just have a playbook that, this is my playbook forever for the rest of my career. He's always developing new plays, as all good offensive coordinators do. But just having another pass-receiving tight end. Look at I did the tight ends preview. We looked at what the Bucs have, what they need. They've got Cameron Brate right now as a reliable pass-catching tight end. And we saw Cameron Brate go down with an injury last year in that Saints game. And that may have cost him a playoff spot. Who knows what happens in that game? Because I believe Brate went down in the first half. It may be early third quarter, but I can't remember. Then we saw Brandon Myers and Jameis Winston and Brandon Myers not connect on a couple throws late in that game around the goal line that I think he and Cameron Brate can connect on. It may have been the difference between being in the playoffs and not being in the playoffs. So I think tight end is a huge, huge need for this football team. And I know I don't know how often Dirk Cutter goes in a 2 tight end receiving combination, but imagine if you can split Brate out, O.J. Howard out, Deshaun Jackson out, and Mike Evans.
And even, man, people get hurt in football.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. So even if you have, all right, hold on, Redskins. Let's see if it is Allen for sure. There it is. There's the slide.
Allen.
I don't want to say that I called his slide.
But you called his slide.
But I called his slide.
I'll say you called his slide.
He's not. Allen at near the end there was just not the prospect. Too early for Ingram.
Is this Reynolds coming back in?
It is.
Oh, good.
Our fearless leader. So we were saying to Cook, or I was saying to Mark, that all of the slide players that we thought might be there for Tampa in a oh my gosh scenario, if Titans take Howard here, they're all gone and we're back to even keel. We're back to basically what we thought it would be, right?
Correct.
So
the interesting thing is, what if who did the Titans take earlier?
Corey Davis.
Okay, so they have a wide receiver.
If they take a corner,
if they go defensive back here,
there is still hope, Bucs fans.
and I'll tell you what,
this could happen.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Dory Jackson. I wouldn't be surprised. If
the Titans take a Dory Jackson, it might happen.
Then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the option of O.J. Howard, Dalvin Cook.
Who else? Who we got on the best?
Buda Baker, Jordan Willis.
If they take,
or trade back.
And again, I'm not knocking Jordan Willis. I know he's very productive, and you're a big fan of his, and his game tape looked great, and he certainly fills the need on this football team.
He's just a K-State homer.
He's a K-State robot. We know that. But that stadium over there, we're going to hear the boos from here if they were to take anybody but an offensive player, I think. With the caliber of players like Dalvin Cook and O.J. Howard still on the board.
Do you want to know who the Titans pick?
Yeah.
Howard.
I think it's Adoree Jackson. That's what I just read.
The Titans did take Adoree Jackson.
They're taking Adoree Jackson.
Yep.
All right, Scott, get back over here on the mic. You guys react to this. You're doing good. All right, I'll stick around for a while.
Bucs fans, you have your dream scenario right now because the Titans are about to take Adoree Jackson. Wow.
Well, for those who mocked us in our mocks for the Adoree Jackson, saying there's no way he's going that early, number 19 to the Bucs.
Yep.
And keep in mind, John Robinson and Jason Light are very close.
Well, I said earlier on the podcast too that John Robinson was going to punt Jason Light and take a player that he wanted in the team.
Yeah.
Whether it was O.J. Howard or Dory Jackson, he was going to take a player that the Buccaneers had high on their board.
Right.
He did.
All right, just a reminder, I will be on 620 tomorrow from 11 to 12 with Jay Retcher, who will be filling in for Ronnie and T-Crafts. I'll be on from 11 to 12. If you are completely bored and have nothing to do tomorrow, you need something for insomnia, listen to me. I'll be live on the air on 620 with Jay, and we'll be recapping what the Bucs do tonight, or if they don't do anything at all. Tell you what, if they trade out of the first round, we're going to have a busy, busy night tomorrow night. What time do things get going tomorrow night? Is it 7 or 6? 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and then noon to 6 on Sunday. We'll be doing this again.
Yes?
Never mind.
Okay.
Yes, never mind. He got it. Keep talking, Scott. I'm going to do the Step Brothers thing where I repeat everything you say. Like Ron Riggle or whatever that guy's name is.
Somebody's saying or Tampa gets Foster. They're not gonna pick Reuben Foster.
No.
Is Trevor gonna spoil the Bucs pick? If I know what it is, I'm gonna spoil the pick.
It.
So
absolutely.
if you don't want to hear it, mute me.
Yeah. Mutiny. Oh, mutiny.
Mutiny. There's a mutiny.
Chris, we can say that the Buccaneers do like Marcus May as a potential second-round guy if they don't go safety here in the first round. I mean, you were at the pro day, and they also brought him in for a visit, if I'm not correct. Is that true? Marcus May, did he come in for a visit?
So, yeah.
If they didn't meet him there, they certainly had private meetings for the guy. And he's not Keanu Neal. Did I say that right? I was going to say Keanu Reeves, but I think those are different guys. But bottom line is, yeah, they do like him, and that could be your second-day pick. But it just depends on what they're going to do right here. And we're still waiting for the official announcement.
Do you want to know who they pick?
Yes.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers have selected O.J. Howard.
Wow.
And that is that's not terrible for the fans over there at Ray J right now.
Pick for the
No,
Tampa Bay
it's a
Buccaneers.
tremendous value at 19 and fills a huge need for this team, and gives Jameis that weapon. All right, somebody's got to do that story on that.
Already done.
So we're done and ready to go. That's how we roll. So now, looking at things, where does a guy like Dalvin Cook go? Who behind the Buccaneers could be in prime position to take him? What if they end up? No, he doesn't slide all the way out of the first round, does he? Do the Bucs get an opportunity to take him in the second round?
Who is this?
Dalvin. I think you can take him in the second round, even if you've got concerns about this guy, don't you?
Dalvin?
Yeah.
Oh, 100. Second round? No
Yeah.
question. No question.
Maybe Jason moves up at this point. I don't know. But
How do you guys feel? Hold on. I got to ask you. Can you give me Light's number so I can text him too? Oh, man. Sorry, I'm
I think it's a tremendous pick. I was a huge O.J. Howard fan. I love college football, and everybody knows I'm a Knowles fan, but let's be honest. The 3:30 CBS games with Vern and Danielson calling those games, it's just been a tradition for years. And so, obviously, I watched a lot of SEC games on Saturday afternoon, and, of course, Alabama was featured, as they should have been, as one of the best teams in the country over the last several years under Nick Saban. So, being able to see O.J. Howard, but I thought he really shined in that game against Clemson. I remember one play, guys, where he was, I believe it may have been the same drive or it was the next drive, but he let a ball come off of his hands on a should have been a pretty easy catch. On the next drive, though, the guy literally hung in the air, did the Michael Jordan thing, where he jumped a little early on the ball and still hung in the air and came down with it. Just a tremendous catch. I believe it might have been in the fourth quarter, and I think Alabama fans or people who watch the game will remember that. And I thought to myself, that's a rare athlete at that size to be able to do what he just did. So that was pretty impressive.
Who is this?
O.J. Howard.
You're talking about O.J.?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
he
rare
really
athlete is the word.
Really shined in those big games. In the championship game the year before, with a tremendous game, and I thought he played really well against Clemson here at Raymond James Stadium last January. O.J. Howard. We can't say officially.
Man, you remember when
It's
you guys
official.
when
It's
you remember
official.
you remember when
Yeah.
you guys said Not you. I'm not calling you out. I'm just kidding. People said that Dory Jackson was too far of a reach at 19. Goes 18. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's almost as if the fine men at pewterreport.com have a pulse on what might be going on. I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
But that's impossible. According to Twitter, there's no way we could actually know anything at
No,
all.
of
We're
course
just
not.
guessing, throwing stuff against walls.
No, of course not. O.J. Howard was, I think, my number 4 player I had on the board for the
Big
Tampa Bay
board.
Buccaneers. So, what up?
Pretty good, Trevor.
I bet they sprinted. I bet they sprinted to get that name card in.
We'll find out because they're going to be. We'll see how much of their allotted time do they use.
Pick's already in.
It's already in.
Yeah, they already know.
I'm so confused with this time delay. I don't know if the TV's behind. Is this camera that I'm looking at behind? Are we in real time behind? I don't even understand.
You're actually in an alternate universe.
I feel like I am. It's really weird to do something and then see it a few seconds later. The good news is I could take off my shirt and we would have time to put it back on before it actually was shown on the camera. Is that true? Or is it only behind for us on this video feed? I'm not sure. But you know that Jameis Winston would have liked to have probably seen Dalvin Cook here, but he's not crying that O.J. Howard is the pick. We know Jameis Winston loves the tight end. We saw that with Cameron Brate with 8 touchdowns last year, I believe. Was leading the league at one point, most touchdowns by a tight end. We saw what Jameis Winston
Why
did
does
at Florida
ESPN
State
go to
with his
commercial
guys.
every time that they
Because
pick?
hate the Bucs.
Because they hate the Bucks. Should
No.
write to them. Now trade back in the first and get Dalvin. How do you feel about it?
I would love it. It just depends on what you give up. That's the question.
I'd love it too.
You know, or top of the second, somewhere around there if he falls. But boy, some of the things we've seen teams give up to move just a couple spots up, you almost think Jason Light didn't get enough from the Bears last year to move up, you know, to swap those 2 spots, especially when you saw what happened with the Bears and the 49ers tonight. Of course, the second pick is a little different than, you know, the 9th pick, but still.
So our story is up instantly. Someone they can go read it on Pewter Report.
Yeah, hey guys, anything you want to know about O.J. Howard, we already got the story up on it and everything. So if you're watching this, just pull it up. Head over to pewterreport.com. Don't leave the live stream. We don't want to miss you. But just pull it up in a new tab. Go read all about your new tight end.
Listen to
He
us
is,
and read, multitask.
Yeah.
Do more than one
That
thing.
might be a Pewter Report overload.
I love
but-
we had some pictures of people who were watching the draft on TV and also had our live feed up, taking pictures on Twitter. We retweeted some of that stuff. That was great. We appreciate that. I've noticed just since I've been in here, a number of people watching live has grown. So, you know, I'm just saying, Scott.
We're up to 700 people watching us live. You talk about a virtual draft party.
We got 700 people watching us live?
Yes.
God,
That's
you guys
almost
are
like
awesome.
having 2 sold-out draft
That
parties.
is. That's awesome.
That's pretty impressive.
Look at that. See, Mel Kiper had O.J. Howard. How did,
I know.
my friends,
This is a
my
steal
friends.
for the Buccaneers.
Best available, according to Kuiper, Howard,
How-
Foster, Harris, Jared
how
Davis, and
did
Forrest
O.J.
Lamb.
Howard fall here? I truly do not know.
Let me ask you a question.
Teams drafting need over best player available. That's
And
how-
hey, so many of you read and commented and everything. You just want Jason Light to take the best player that he possibly can.
he did.
My
He did,
goodness,
and,
did he
Speaking
ever.
of Jason Light, we're going to have to switch spots here. You guys are going to have to go to work on
All right,
on,
we'll be
Jason
back.
Light. And I'm going to take over.
Oh, tag out.
Is he going to go in there right away, or is he going to not do it before they announce it?
Yep, just get situated. So, Pewter Nation, what do you think about that? Interesting. We actually had O.J. Howard mocked to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in our second mock draft. That was the mock draft right after the Senior Bowl. And knew the Buccaneers loved him from then. No way in the world did we think that he would be available to Tampa Bay to take at number 19. Did not see that coming whatsoever. And I guarantee you, Jason Light and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't see that coming. I think the Buccaneers thought that the Tennessee Titans were either going to take O.J. Howard or Adoree Jackson, and the Buccaneers would probably take the other one. It was not O.J. Howard, it was Adoree Jackson, and the Buccaneers ended up getting O.J. Howard, which is a fantastic pick. I was sitting up in the stands with Dirk Cutter and Jason Light at the Senior Bowl, and just watching Cutter look at the tight ends. He didn't have to tell me he liked O.J. Howard. I could see by the look on his face. And he said, we need a tight end, but we need a tight end that can do more than just catch, because there's so many receiving tight ends out there. The Bucky Hodges of Virginia Tech, Evan Ingram's even really there. It's official, according to ESPN and NFL Network, but we've had it for about 10 minutes now. Story's up on pewterreport.com. Go check it out. We have some quotes from O.J. Howard in there, not about getting picked, but some stuff that we had from previous articles we had written. And this is a tremendous pick because it gets Dirk Cutter a weapon, and Jameis Winston a weapon. A 4.5 one-time in the 40-yard dash. At 6'6", this guy can move. Just ask Clemson. He's had 2 tremendous games against the Tigers in the national championship game. And the interesting thing is, when you look at what Dirk Cutter wants to do, and we've talked about this probably about an hour ago. So if you're new to the podcast here, the video cast, this will be new for you. If you were here earlier, this is old news, but ideally Dirk Cutter wanted to have Austin Seferian-Jenkins on one side of the line, and then you've got Cameron Braid on the other. Those guys really coming out of training camp were 1A and 1B at the tight end position. Cam had the 1A spot. Austin Seferian-Jenkins, as we know, bit of a turd, got DUI, got cut before week 3, and Cam Braid had 2 touchdowns in that game. It was really his coming out party against the Los Angeles Rams. But what Cutter wanted to do is have those 2 tight ends, big 6'5", 6'6" guys, and then those 2 big 6'5" wide receivers. He likes big receivers. He likes big weapons. He shared that with us at the Senior Bowl. And 6'6" O.J. Howard fits the bill. And this guy is a high character guy, a team-oriented guy, a player that was asked to do a ton of blocking at Alabama for the likes of Derrick Henry and the slew of running backs that they have had there. And Kenyon Drake, all those guys. And he is adept at run blocking. He's one of the few players in this draft that can do both. They can catch the ball. He was underused as a receiver at Alabama, that's for sure. He mentioned that at the Senior Bowl. We did a story on that. So I really believe that this is a tremendous pick for the Buccaneers. And I think it was one that Jason Light really wasn't seeing coming down the pike. And that's why I think he was looking to trade back, because as we've told you here on pewterreport.com, and some of you didn't want to believe us, this team was going to pass up Dalvin Cook. I wrote about that in my insider story today. Of course, you never know until the actual time comes, and there's the proof right there. O.J. Howard over Dalvin Cook. And even if O.J. Howard wasn't there, and Adoree Jackson wasn't there, you have to wonder, would it be Budda Baker? Would it be another player? Or would Dalvin have been, that much of a temptation to select? But everything we heard, there's just too many running backs that this team has brought in and likes. Foreman from Texas, Pirine from Oklahoma, Mack from USF, Hunt from Toledo. I've even heard that they like Brian Hill out of Wyoming as a fallback guy if those guys are off the board. They might even like Alvin Kamara, a player I'm not really high on, but I don't know. The Buccaneers might be keeping that close to their vest. But yeah, I do know for a fact this team has liked O.J. Howard for a very long time. This is truly Christmas in April. So I'm going to take a look at some of your interactions here. Great day to be a Bucs fan, Shannon, absolutely. I love it, says Buccaneer Bruce. Bucs fans, go follow your new tight end, the real O.J. Howard. That's Chris Fisher, absolutely. Broncos just drafted one of those crap offensive tackles. Yeah, that's true. What tight end is now expendable? That's a good question, but really the expendable tight end was Brandon Myers, because he was a free agent that was not re-signed. So right now, the tight end position was really weak, and I know that there's a lot of you that were saying, hey, the Buccaneers didn't need a tight end because of Cam Brate, and we have told you from the Senior Bowl going forward that they really needed another tight end. They wanted that two tight ends ability, and also a guy that can come in and alternate with Cam Brate. And if there's an injury, that's it. Chris Fisher says, Scott, let's talk day 2 now. What do you feel the biggest need is after filling tight end? Running back. Running back is definitely going to be sought after here, either in round 2 or round 3. I could also see wide receiver coming into play. Could also see defensive end come into play. So it's interesting. I mean, we've seen players fall. Jonathan Allen fell all the way down to the Redskins. O.J. Howard fell. There could be a player. It could be Jordan Willis. It could be Buda Baker. There could be one of those players that are late first-round candidates that slide into the second round. We know Jason Light likes to make moves in the second round. Some work out well. See Ali Marpet. Some don't work out so well. See Roberto Aguayo. But it will be interesting to see. Ken Grant says, Kareem Hunt, please. I'm with you. I like Kareem Hunt. He's a hell of a back. What about safety? From Bucks Rule 4669. Yes. Buda Baker is one of those guys in contention. As Trevor and I talked about before, we're hearing that they like Justin Evans, the Texas A&M safety, quite a bit as well. So keep his name in mind. What about Ken Grant? Says, what about Juju Smith-Schuster? That would be nuts. Yeah, that is Trevor's guy. Trevor would go nuts for that. He would love Juju Smith-Schuster. Big, physical wide receiver. I mean, probably as physical a receiver that the Bucs haven't had. And Mike Evans is a physical receiver now. But, I mean, we're talking like Keyshawn Johnson physical, like blow you up in the run game. And I mean, Mike Evans can do that too. Mike Evans told me he was really disappointed in his blocking last year. He felt like he blocked a lot better in 2014 and 15 than he did last year. So, let's Joshua G. Garrett Bowles is clearly intellectually disabled. Wow. He's had a rough upbringing, though. Really rough upbringing. Turned his life around. Got married, had some kids, went to Utah, got it together. So, traffic numbers, crazy. We're having over 700 people right now. Check this out. So that's awesome. Thank you guys. This I don't want to say this was thrown together at the last minute, but this was kind of like an idea. We tried to we actually tried to put together a draft party, and we had a draft party last year that was sold out at Hard Rock Cafe. We had Buccaneer players come out there. Will Golston, Akeem Spence, Jude Ajay-Barima, came out there. We had former Buccaneer greats, Dwight Smith, Tyler Jackson was there. It was a good time. Hard Rock Cafe has undergone a lot of renovations. If you've been to Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, a lot of renovations. We weren't able to have it there. The problem is our draft parties are typically Friday nights. That's when we like to have draft parties. Don't want to compete necessarily with what the team is doing at the stadium. And a lot of people, due to work on Fridays, don't want to go to a draft party on Thursday night. Some do, and that's great, and God bless you if you do. That's awesome. But we typically have our parties on Fridays. And in the past, we had some at Champs way back in the day at International Plaza. And the problem is some of our partners, some of the places we've reached out to, some of the local area sports bars, they're all busy and jam-packed on Fridays, and they couldn't reserve the space. I mean, we had maybe enough room for 50 people, but they just couldn't reserve space for 100, 150, 200 people like that. And so we decided, well, let's take our draft party virtual. Let's use some technology. We're going multimedia here at pewterreport.com. And the podcasts have been a huge hit thanks to you. You're the ones who make that possible, Pewter Nation. That's why we call it Pewter Nation Podcast. It's for you, the Pewter Report diehard Bucs fan out there that loves our content, and we love you guys. And so the podcasts have been a big hit, and we wanted to really actually have a video cast, a live streaming video cast live from One Buccaneer Place you just joined us right now, Trevor Sikkema and Mark Cook are probably talking to Bucs general manager Jason Light right now, and or head coach Dirk Cutter. Both of those guys, I guarantee you, have smiles on their faces. I've been in that room when they get the guy that they want, and Dirk Cutter probably has got the biggest smile I've seen him have. He got his offensive weapon. Jameis Winston got his offensive weapon. So that's going to be fun to hear about. And then right after that, what happens is the reporters go from the press conference room back into the media room, where they will get the first-round draft pick, in this case, O.J. Howard, on a video conference. And we're getting some tweets now from the Pewter Report account. Jason Light said that O.J. Howard is one of the top character kids in the draft, and that is true. I got a chance to meet him at the Senior Bowl. What a class guy. Tremendous character guy, team-first guy, didn't complain even though he was a tremendous weapon on offense that was underused at Alabama. Just kind of shut up, put his nose to the grindstone, blocked, caught passes, did whatever was asked from him by Nick Saban, and really, as a result, became a well-rounded tight end. So that's awesome to see. So right now, yeah, press conference is going on right now. So right after that, O.J. Howard's going to get on a conference call, video conference, with Mark and Trevor and the Times guys and the other people in the Tampa Bay media. So we'll get a chance to ask him questions, get his thoughts on his fall. A lot of people had him pegged in the top 10, maybe even the top 5. Jared Davis, inside linebacker from Florida, goes to Detroit with the 21st pick. Interesting. Charles Harris still on the board, defensive end from Missouri. Kansas State's Jordan Willis still on the board, defensive end. You wonder if Jason Light is going to move up a little bit in the second round if some of these guys end up sliding out of the first round. Or does he take a stab up and get back into the first round, trade away a couple players maybe, not players, but picks, and maybe shorten this draft from 7 players to maybe 5 if there is one particular player he likes. And of course, Dalvin Cook's still on the clock. Boy, Buccaneer fans, wouldn't you love it if this team somehow pulled off Dalvin Cook maybe in the second round and O.J. Howard in the first. So that's awesome. Sean Steele says, because tight end isn't a huge position in all offenses and good players just fall sometimes, especially when stupid teams trade up to mediocre quarterbacks. That's exactly right. And that's quite a comment coming from a Kansas Jayhawk. I see you, Sean. I'm a Kansas State Wildcat, so I got to point that out. I think it's a Jayhawk. Or is it a Toucan? Is that Toucan, Sam? I don't know. Just messing with you. Joshua G, yes. Howard is the perfect fit for us. Howard can play every down as a blocker. That's true. Ken Grant. OJ, and you guys have been awesome with your comments tonight. Sorry we can't get to them all, but your comments and questions are fantastic. You guys are just loading us up with content here. OJ is a rare case of when need, fit, and talent all meet at the apex. Perfect scenario. I'm still stunned. Yes. So a little inside poker here. Jason Light says, we love Cameron Brate, and today's offense having 2 tight ends opens things up for the offense, and it really does. Again, I'm going to go back to Jason Light on drafting O.J. Howard. That's the most excitement I've seen in our draft room since we drafted Jameis, and that is true. Miami Dolphins pick is in. Pick number 22. Defensive end, probably. Yep, defensive end Charles Harris from Missouri. Good pick for the Dolphins. I like him. The Bucs liked him too. So, yes. Mike Evans on one side, Deshaun Jackson on the other, Cam Brate, and now O.J. Howard. And you got a running back there, whether it's a rookie, whether it's Doug Martin, whether it's Jacquizz Rodgers. When you're in a 2 tight end set, really what you're doing is you're dictating to the defense. You're dictating that they almost have to be in base defense, which is, if for a 3-4 team, it's a 3-4 front, or a 4-3 front, it's 3 linebackers, 4 defensive linemen. And then what you're doing is you're creating a mismatch because you're forcing one of those linebackers or a safety to have to match up one-on-one with Brate, one-on-one with O.J. Howard. And Jason Light just got a text from Jameis Winston with a million smiley faces. That's awesome. Just getting some of this news as it happens here on my phone. But, that's the beauty of a two tight end set. When you go to three wide receivers, team's going to bring a nickel. Then you have a nickel corner matching up on your third wide receiver. But when you are in a two tight end set, you can run or you can pass out of that. And if you run, you've got two guys in Howard and Brate that can block, and you've got run personnel out there. But you also have guys, four receivers essentially, that can go out and catch passes, not including the running back. Howard, Brate, Evans, Jackson. Jameis Winston, you just got weapon number one. You got a couple more coming. Fantastic blocker, says Robert Jones. Yes, he was. Alabama runs the ball. And Bo Scarborough, Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake, all those guys. Yes. And my boy Caden Hart, boy, he is going to love this because he's a huge Alabama fan. So he's coming to Tampa Bay. That's awesome. Ken Grant, our 12 personnel is going to be filthy. Yeah, definitely. There's no doubt about it. It's a fantastic pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If I thought there was any chance that O.J. Howard was going to be around, even on the clock, he would have been a Bucs' best bet, without question. I just didn't think it was going to happen. I thought if they wanted a tight end, that David Njoku would be the only possible guy. I just thought O.J. Howard would be a top 10, top 12. I mean, to see him slip past Baltimore with how O.J. Howard would have fit in, an Alabama linebacker, that says something to me about, here you have Ozzie Newsome, former Alabama tight end himself, in Baltimore calling the shots. They like the tight end, that Joe Flacco needs some more weapons, and they end up getting Marlon Humphrey from Alabama, a cornerback. It's a bit of a shocker to me because there are some good cornerbacks in this draft later. There are some good tight ends in this draft, but O.J. Howard is one of those rare guys. Now, here's the interesting thing. Let's look at the tight end position here for a second. Right now, you've got Cam Brate and you've got O.J. Howard. That's your 1 and 2. You've got Luke Stocker, is that blocking tight end / fullback. That's really about it. This team does need another tight end. Is it going to be Tevin Westbrook? Is it going to be Alan Cross, who's really more of a fullback than an inline tight end that can line up with the line of scrimmage and block? He's more of like a flex back, a fullback type. This team needs another tight end. This team also likes Toledo tight end Michael Roberts. So I don't know if O.J. Howard, the selection of him, takes Roberts off the board now. They just say, we're done at the tight end position. We'll fill that other spot with an undrafted free agent. Or if they just double down on another tight end, knowing that Luke Stocker is getting banged up. He's getting a little long in the tooth, but he's taken a lot of punishment. He's been hurt a lot. Did they just solidify that tight end position again with the day 3 pick of Michael Roberts? That will be interesting to see. Matt on Wheel says, but to be clear, he's not injured or has character concerns, does he know? Giants just took Ingram over to Njoku. Yep. Evan Ingram. Yeah, Evan Ingram. That is, that's a player the Bucs like too. He had a great Senior Bowl. The Ole Miss receiving tight end. This is a guy that I think ran a 4.42, 6'3", 234 pounds. Kind of like a Danny Vitale type in terms of size. Like really not your inline blocker type. Really more like, I guess, a Jordan Reed, Dustin Keller type, the old Jets tight end. That really was just a mismatch in the receiving game. The Toledo boys in 3 and 4 would make me very happy. Yeah, me too. You mean Alan Cook, Mark Cook's son? Alan Cross. They do look alike, yes. Do the Bucs like Grover Stewart? Asks Robert Jones. I think they do. I don't think they're alone either. He is a rare athlete, 347 pounds. They can move like that. I think he ran a 5.14. That's a damn good time for a big man. And the Buccaneers, they want to add some size on that defensive line and get a little bit younger at the defensive tackle spot. I think Clint McDonald probably is last year here in Tampa. You know, you've got Swaggy Baker just got here. You know, he's not exactly a rookie or a second-year player. He's I think, entering year 6 or 7. Gerald McCoy. Let's see who the Giants are going to pick. Evan England. That's final. I'm going to check out a couple of questions on the red board here, so please, where the plank is blowing up right now, too. You guys, we're having some crazy draft traffic. And you know what? For you longtime PewterReport.com visitors, you've noticed this website has not gone down on draft day. Draft day is our busiest traffic day, and we have had problems in the past. They've been well documented. But we had some ridiculous numbers in free agency. Numbers in free agency this year that actually surpassed any draft numbers. So we felt really good with, and I give a shout out to Kyle and his team at the Visual Realm for doing a great job with getting our website stocked, ready, loaded, with plenty of bandwidth to do live streaming like we are, to have as many people, I mean over 700, 800 people on the website watching us right now, and then others on the website. It's great to see. So some of you are buying into the notion that I've thrown out there, doubling up for Michael Roberts from Toledo. Yeah, I like that guy a lot. He might be one of those guys too that if he's available in 4th or 5th round, best player available, the Buccaneers will take him. I've got to tend to a little bit of business now. We have the O.J. Howard pick up. That story is up on our website. I just got to tweet it out a couple more times to let newcomers know that we have got the story. So yeah, if you want to read about O.J. Howard, we've got that story up on PewterReport.com right now. O.J. will be talking to Mark and Trevor and the rest of the media shortly. And in the meantime, we've got some quotes from him from his time at the Senior Bowl and also some statistics. We really want to dive into this guy if you're not as familiar with him, because maybe he wasn't on your radar because you didn't think he was going to be there at number 19. You're not alone. We didn't think that either. We thought that back in late, I think it was February, early February, our second mock draft had O.J. Howard going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And after that, the guy runs a 4.51 at the Indianapolis scouting combine. And I thought, there's no way he's going to make it there. And then when you look at the Tennessee Titans picking ahead of the Buccaneers at 18, you just knew that John Robinson was going to punk his old buddy, Jason Light, and take a player that the Bucs wanted. And I thought it was going to be O.J. Howard. The interesting thing is, I'll go back to my point I was going to make earlier. Little inside poker here. How do we get the story up so fast? We pre-write a lot of stories. We had a lot of stories pre-written. If the Bucs picked Dalvin Cook, if the Bucs picked Adoree Jackson, if the Bucs picked Willie Baker, Jordan Willis, several of those loaded and ready to go. We already pre-written those. The one story we hadn't pre-written was O.J. Howard. So while I was ducking out and Mark Cook was filling in for me, I was putting together the Howard story, anticipating that he just might slide. And if Baltimore didn't take him, Tennessee wasn't going to take him, pretty good chance that the Buccaneers were going to take him. So I whipped together a O.J. Howard story and have that up there for your viewing pleasure. And we're going to have Mark or Trevor come back in here and kind of recap the press conference when that happens. But interesting stuff going on with David Njoku, who might be falling out of the first round. I don't know if there's another team that has a need for a tight end, but he could be there for a team in the second round. Obviously, Buccaneers have their tight end in O.J. Howard, the top tight end. I'll tell you what, it's going to set up for a really fun day two, and we'll have to see if the Buccaneers are done on day one or not. I say that because true story, and Mark Cook can attest to this.
What happened?
Well, a couple years ago, I decided that my work here was done, and I went home.
Yeah.
And Mark Dominic decided to trade back up to, what, number 32?
No,
31?
31 because the Giants took
Conley went to
David.
the Raiders?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Took I forgot the other running back from Miami.
I think it was Virginia Tech.
No, but anyway,
What's
yeah.
that sound?
Oh, that's my recorder playing.
Is that Jason Light in your pocket?
Yeah,
or
do
are
y'all
you
want to
just
listen
happy
to
see
this?
me? No.
We can't do that. Anyway, let's just recap it because I need to get in there and get Light and Cutter stories done.
Yeah. How about
But,
hold on? How about O.J. Howard? Is he going to be doing video conferencing?
We're gonna be. They're gonna be doing something
Okay.
on that.
When is
and
that going to be?
I don't know. They said they would let
Whenever
us know.
Philly makes him available.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I'll tell you what, Trevor.
Yes.
Once you get in the media room, just in case,
Just be
because
ready for it.
yeah, that's going to be something that'll pop up.
Just catching up on the rest of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram to the Giants.
Evan Ingram went before Njoku.
over the Njoku. Yeah.
I would say that I'm shocked, but I told Pewter Report readers
Yes,
that
you did.
today. So
Yeah.
the scoops. It's almost like we know what we're doing.
Jason had his Jason Light can't bluff it face on, where he was just giggling almost up there.
Yeah.
But the thing I found interesting in the press conference, he said Dirk Cutter may have been even more excited. He got the biggest hug he's ever got.
Yeah, that's what I was saying here. And you weren't able to go to the Senior Bowl this year because the Pro Bowl coincides with the Senior Bowl, and Mark was in Orlando. Trevor and I were up in the stands watching O.J. Howard just do his thing and destroy linebackers and safeties.
Yeah.
I mean, O.J. Howard was the best player at the Senior Bowl.
Well, and Dirk Cutter said something that we've said before. With the influx of spread offenses in college football, to find that
these guys
true
can't
wide
block.
tight end,
Yeah.
they just don't block anymore. And Dirk said it's a dying breed, and they're ecstatic to have him. And he says, look, we love Cameron Brate, what he did, and what he's going to do. But this really opens things up for the offense to be able to put two tight ends in on the field, especially on first down and running downs and things like that. Jason said Dirk is probably up in his office right now already designing new plays.
Or actually, what he's
about.
doing is he's taking the playbook he was going to use last year with ASJ and
Right.
Cameron Brate,
Right.
and he's dusting it off and saying, hey, I can finally use these plays.
You know what, though? I think he's even going to there's no question in my mind a Brate-Howard combination is more what he envisioned because Austin Sferrian-Jenkins was really another pass-catching tight end who
Not a
could
good
block
blocker,
a little
yeah,
bit,
not
not
the good blocker.
Not a good blocker. And the bottom line is Cameron Brate is not a good blocker. Dirk said
He's
that
getting
last
better.
year before training camp. He's better, but that's not his forte.
Yeah.
As you were pointing out, what you saw at the Senior Bowl, after the pick was made, and I went in the media room before the press conferences. Of course, ESPN or whoever we were watching after that was showing clips of O.J. Howard putting linebackers on his back. And Dirk said, he's still got to get better at that, and he still can get better at that. But these blocking, pass catching, tight end combo guys, they're rare, man. They're unicorns in the college football world, and Dirk's excited to be able to have an opportunity to use two tight ends at one time. And again, we talked about it while you were out earlier. Imagine Deshaun, Mike Evans, Cameron Brate, and O.J. Howard on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to create headaches for the Buccaneer opponents.
Well, yeah, and we have had some new people jump aboard here in just a second. I don't want to be too redundant, but really what it does is when you go two tight ends, two wide receivers, and you're in that type of 12 personnel, what you're doing then is you're pretty much dictating to teams that they're going to be in base defense as opposed to nickel.
Exactly.
And then the defense doesn't know if you're going to run or pass because that is truly a run or pass formation.
Right.
And typically, in this day and age of specialization, with teams playing 60, 70%, in the NFC South, it's closer to 70%.
Right.
With Drew Brees and Cam Newton and Jameis Winston and Matt Ryan, it's closer to 70%. That Sam linebacker is just not as good or as talented, perhaps, in most teams than the nickel corner now. It's transitioned to where the Sam linebacker is such a specialized position that he doesn't see as much time on the field as that nickel corner does. And so that's really a role. Now, some teams might have a great Sam, but there are other teams, and the Buccaneers are one right now that they don't have a good Sam linebacker. They've got two inexperienced guys in Devontae Bond and Darius Land, and we'll see which one of those guys emerges, and then we'll see if they end up drafting a linebacker to compete there. But that's where your mismatch is.
Yeah.
Is really what you're doing is you're forcing teams, to have that Sam linebacker be on
base.
Either Cam or OJ or bring a safety down.
And if you bring a safety down and you've got Mike and Deshaun on the outside, then you can't double those guys.
Yeah, you're in cover three, or
and
single,
the safeties have
or
to make
single
a
high
decision.
safety with man coverage underneath.
Right. It just opens things up for Jameis Winston. And then one of the questions in there was, how much better does this make Jameis Winston before he steps on the field? And Dirk said,
Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard.
Yeah. And we know they're going to probably bring in a running back at some point in the next couple rounds. And Dirk said, I don't know. I mean, we've been in phase one, which is, conditioning. He says, but we get on the field with the players next week. But he says, I think he's off to a pretty good start. And he said, even during this phase one, this conditioning, Dirk says when he pulls up, the car that's in the parking lot is Jameis Winston. And Dirk gets here at 5:45, and Jameis is already here.
I'll tell you what, we've only been in the building for a couple of days and got to interview a couple of Buccaneer players. But, you and I text and talk to a lot of the Buccaneer players during the offseason. And, I had a chance to interview Quan for my SR's Fab 5 a couple weeks ago. And these guys are just so chomping at the bit. I mean, that 9-7 was such a tease for them. They were so close to the playoffs. It reminds me a little bit of like the 1996 Buccaneers, where they were just figuring it out at the end of the season. You beat the Chargers. Remember in 1996, they destroyed the Chicago Bears here.
Yeah.
Like 35-10 or 35-14. Yeah. Carl Williams had a touchdown. The defense was dominant. And it was almost like, can we keep playing?
Yeah. And that's the way this season felt last year when it ended for the Buccaneers.
Yes.
They realized that they missed an opportunity. But I was thinking about this in the drive over today. Missing the playoffs by literally a half game, because after it was all said and done, if the Buccaneers would have just tied one of those games, they would have won the tiebreaker. It may have been the best thing for this team, because the hunger
for the long haul,
the hunger that this team has now going into this offseason, as you say, replicates in my mind the feeling of that 96.
I can talk to you about this. I think Trevor was in diapers, or he might have not even been born.
Yeah, he was pooping himself for sure.
But I mean, remember '97 when the 49ers came to town? That season opener, I think the Bucs won 13-6. Yeah. Steve Young got the crap knocked out of him by Artie Nickerson. Warren Sapp took out Jerry Rice. And
I caught a punt in the end zone.
Did you really?
Remember they used to let us on the field with 8 minutes left?
Wait, here's the Brown selection at 25. Jabril Peppers. Interesting.
Wow.
Buda Baker still on board.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yep.
Who's quarterbacking for the Browns again? You, me?
No, Osweiler. They traded for him,
Of
remember?
course, yeah, they're set.
Yeah.
Browns being the Browns.
That was the plan all along.
But I was going to say I caught a punt. It was
Yeah.
late in the game, and 49ers punted, and it went through the end zone, and it bounced one time big, and we're standing in the corner by the goalpost, and I fielded it. On it bounced. I didn't run out on the field and catch the punt, but I remember that game. That was a signature. You go back to '96, that game against San Diego, obviously a signature win.
Yeah.
But that year to open up the season the way they did at Houlihan Stadium.
They
at
picked
the
up
time.
where they left off from the '96 season.
What did they start? Did they start 5-0 that year?
Yeah,
I remember they
did.
beat the Dolphins on
They did.
Sunday Night Football.
They started
here.
off 5-0. Warwick Dunn
Yeah.
really had the breakout game against the Dolphins,
Right.
and had a great game I think against the Vikings and the Lions.
They ended up winning the NFC Central, facing the Lions in a playoff game, the last game at Houlihan
No, they didn't win the
Stadium.
Central that year.
They didn't?
No, because they went to the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, that's right.
In the playoffs.
That's
second
right,
round. They
that
were the
year.
wild card team
Okay.
that year.
Well, anyway, I remember I was at the last game at the stadium.
All right, so
It was
I
way
got a
big.
trivia question for you guys out there. When Steve Young got knocked out of the game by Warren Sapp, don't answer this. You
But
might
was
not
it,
even know.
was it, did Young get knocked out or was it
No.
Rice?
No,
I thought Rice hurt
they
his
both
knee.
did.
That's right.
Steve Young got a helmet.
Yes.
He got a knee to the helmet by
Yes.
Hardy Nickerson
Yes.
in the first quarter, and then Jerry Rice on an end around. Sapp grabbed him by the face
Mhm.
mask,
Yeah.
dragged him down. His,
Yeah.
foot, his foot
Knee-
planted
and knee buckled. Yep.
toward the knee. Yeah. So who was the quarterback that came in for Steve Young?
Wow, I don't even remember that.
I do.
It was Craig Morton. No,
Craig Morton.
Steve DeBerg. Just kidding.
Rice got collared. Yeah, he sure did.
Did Sapp get a penalty on that?
Yeah, he did. Face mask. Yeah. Yeah. I remember he was on his knees and he was like this, going
Yeah.
like that. And Jerry Rice is laying there. He's looking out his ear
Right.
hole. You know,
Right.
his legs. No, it wasn't Jeff Garcia. This is before then. Nope, not Garcia.
It was Frank Garcia, the former Bucs punter. No, it was a different Garcia. Yeah, drafting running back, definitely priority at some point.
Yeah. Come on, go ahead and use.
Well, there are going to be some
Wikipedia
good
or
safeties.
Google,
Good
look
point,
it up.
Chris Fisher. All right, we're gonna give up. No one's coming up with it. You're gonna have to just
Jeff
give us the
Brom.
answer. Good Lord, Brom.
Jeff Brom.
Wow.
Yep.
Good memory. That's weird because earlier today you asked me where you left your car keys and your
Yeah,
coffee
I had
cup,
no
but
idea.
you can remember the backup quarterback
Yeah.
in 1997.
Jim Druckenmiller. Yeah. Great name.
Ty
Ty
Detmer.
Detmer. No, it was actually. What did I not do?
My Gatorade.
Okay, good.
I mean,
What was
my
the question? The question
Seminole
was,
aide.
once Steve Young got knocked out of the game, which 49er quarterback came in and actually kind of scared the Bucs a little bit. He was actually somewhat confident. It was
Yeah.
one of those things, yeah, we knocked out Steve Young. That's what the fans were thinking. And all of a sudden,
yeah.
here comes Jeff Brom. But
All right, well, I'm going to go tag back out with
Okay.
Trevor, get him back in here, and get our stories up. We
yeah,
got plenty
Seattle
of coverage
Seahawks
tonight.
on the clock right now, about 49 seconds left. They're probably going to go offensive line, I would guess. Oh, they're going to trade the pick. Wow. To the Falcons. The Falcons are, I think, are going to take Forrest Lamp. I think they're going to take Forrest Lamp. And I don't even know that. That's just my guess. They need help at guard. And he is a stud guard. Jameis Winston just tweeted out, Showtime Quan, Bama Boy, welcome home, the real O.J. Howard, great day in Tampa Bay, Bama Boys. So you have O.J. Howard, Quan Alexander, Jameis Winston, all from the state of Alabama, grew up in Alabama. So if you're the Atlanta Falcons, where are you going? Are they going to draft the defensive end? Charles Harris is off the board. Are they going to go Jordan Willis here? Are they going to go offensive line? With, I'm going to ask Trevor. He just walked in the room here. So Atlanta Falcons just traded up with Seattle.
Oh yeah.
Did they take Forrest Lamp here and plug him in at right guard? They have a hole there. Or are they going to go pass rush?
I think they're gonna go.
Jordan Willis?
Oh yeah. Will's still there.
Yeah.
Let me see. Willis, I think a pass rusher would be my pick. That offensive line was so good last year.
Yes, but I thought
They lose somebody?
Oh, it could be David Njoku. It could be David Njoku.
Oh, it could be.
Another weapon for Matt Ryan.
Wow, Njoku.
Yeah.
Boy, think about the 3 players that think about the 4 players that were picked in the NFC South tonight.
Yes.
McCaffrey,
Yep.
Lattimore, Howard, Njoku.
Yeah. That's why this is the best division of football.
Those
it really is. From top to bottom.
Those are
all
some
4
good
teams got better already.
Hey guys, how you doing?
McKinley. Tack McKinley from UCLA defensive end.
That's who it is?
Pass rusher. Yeah,
oh, okay. All right, so it's Tack
Yep.
McKinley. I like Tack, man. I got to talk to Tack at the Combine. And
he's got a picture of his grandmother. Oh, my God.
And he is one of the most genuine kids I've ever met in my life. Who was going to the NFL? Man, I only got to talk to him for like 15 minutes. Look at this guy.
Yeah,
oh, my goodness.
He's got a picture of his grandmother, who I'm assuming is passed. I mean, he's got like a huge, like bigger than 8x10 picture. And he is bringing the picture out with him to the podium. Wow. Gotta love his grandma. That's awesome. You got Tack McKinley on one side. You got Vic Beasley on the other.
Ooh, that's a
Donovan Smith and DeMar Dotson better eat their Wheaties.
Yeah, to say the least. Hey, how do you guys? I don't think I got to read your reactions when it happened because I was so busy with the news. But
blowing up.
How do we feel about O.J. Howard? Everybody love him?
How do we get one of those PR polos? Yes, yeah, it was pretty much.
Everybody love him. That's good. That's good. I even saw.
Which one do you like better? You like Trevor's with the ship and the PewterReport.com, or you like the PR Square?
Yeah, I wish he wasn't going to Atlanta either, because I definitely. But I get to watch him play twice a year for sure now. So he's a fun guy to watch.
Yeah.
Tack McKinley is, and he's a good kid to root for.
Yeah.
Look at that man. I don't know. He's just a very genuine kid, and so him getting.
I'll tell you what. I had the chance to speak to Eddie Vanderdoes. Is that right, Vanderdoes?
Yeah, Vanderdoes.
Yeah, UCLA defensive tackle. And Trevor's polo is better. Yeah, I would agree. I like the Pewter. That's cool. I had a chance to talk to him at the Senior Bowl, and he just raved about Tack. Said this guy is just scratching the surface. He is an ultimate competitor. He just is a fierce competitor. And, that's going to be a challenge for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jason Light, your work is not done. You've got a very good first-round pick. You've got to come with it. Jason Delatorre likes the PR Square. It's cool. But yeah, the Buccaneers, they're going to have a top-to-bottom solid draft, get a lot of players because the NFC South is loading up tonight. These teams are getting better. Trevor, I've got to do a little bit of tweeting. I'm going to let you opine a little bit on what you heard from Jason Light. Mark talked about it a little bit.
Sure.
He talked about the big smiles and the big hugs. Delve a little bit into the character. And also, too, you were up in the stands with me. Mark did go to the Senior Bowl. He was at the Pro Bowl. You and I were there.
Yes.
Watching O.J. Howard destroy people
Yeah.
at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, really good players.
We were watching Jason Light
and Dirk
watching
Cutter, yes.
O.J. Howard destroy people.
And Dirk was commenting to us, like, you got to have a complete tight end. Like, you can't just get a guy that can catch the ball. And I don't think that was a knock on Cam Brate, but let's face it, Cam Brate came from Harvard at about 235. He's up to about 245. He's put on about 10 pounds. But he's not a guy that's going to be Luke Stockerman. He's not going to be 255, 260, 265.
Yeah, and so
you need a guy that can
right,
run
and
block.
Man, it's funny because I talked about this in one of my articles, and I've talked about it with you guys on Twitter here. We have picked up hints about who the Buccaneers might want, and one of the earliest hints that we picked up was certainly at the Senior Bowl back in January, when it was just blatantly obvious that O.J. Howard was head and shoulders above the rest of his competition. And every single GM there liked O.J. Howard, and we started to mock him to Tampa Bay at 19. Started getting Bucs fans. We got that in their head that, hey, even though they like Cam Brate, O.J. Howard is a dominant guy. He's a great football player, and they might take him. But as we have gone on, we've thought, there's no way Howard's going to be there. And we've had to pick up hints, and like we've been saying, maybe it's Buda Baker, maybe it's Dory Jackson, maybe it's these Jordan Willis, who knows. These guys that are going to be there when OJ is not. And OJ ended up being there. And that's kind of crazy. It was a dream scenario. Going into the taking you into the other media room, Jason Light walked in. They both need to work on blocking a little bit. Jason Light walked into the podium, or walked into the room, walked into the podium, he's got a big smile on his face, and he said, "I'm ready for a beer." And he said, and everybody kind of laughed, and he knew that. He also said that's the most excited that he has seen his war room since they drafted Jameis. Getting Howard there. The questions they kept asking him, hey, how high was O.J. Howard on your board? And he kind of laughed, and he's not going to give away that. He's not going to give away that kind of stuff. So he laughed, and he just said, "I'll just tell you guys, he was pretty high." And they asked head coach Dirk Cutter the same thing, and Cutter, he laughed, and he said, "High." He was very high. And I tweeted this out a second ago. In my big board, my projected big board that I had for them, I had O.J. Howard at number 5 for the Bucs, and that's got to be pretty close to where they had him ranked too. 4, 5, 6, one of those. No way it was any lower than 7 or something like that. So, they absolutely loved the pick. It was a dream come true. Cutter told us at one point that he was sitting in his seat a certain way at pick number 12, and 12 gets picked, and it's not O.J. Howard. And 13 gets picked, and it's not O.J. Howard. And he said at that point he had to go to the bathroom really bad, but there was not a chance that he was going to get up and move because he didn't want to jinx it. And he ended up not jinxing it because that's who was left for him there. So it really was a dream come true for them. And there's still going to be a lot of really good prospects to be had in that second round. We're seeing that now.
Yeah.
Even guys that we talked about. Buda Baker's not gone yet, correct?
Correct.
Buda Baker is still there.
Yep.
David Njoku is not gone yet, correct?
Correct.
David Njoku is still there. Dalvin Cook, I know people like Cook. And they did ask Jason Light about Cook. They said, did you ever consider Cook or Howard or whatever? What were you thinking at 19? And Jason Light simply said, we like Cook. He did say that. He said, we like Cook. But O.J. Howard is almost a dream come true.
Yeah.
So,
and I think really, Trevor, what that speaks to is what we've been saying all along, that there are a lot of running backs in this draft that they like. They brought in a ton. They brought in Foreman from Texas. They brought in Dalvin Cook. They brought in they worked out Kareem Hunt privately. They brought in Samaje Perine from Oklahoma. They brought in Marlon Mack from USF.
mm-hmm.
There was a lot of guys in the second and third round that this team likes. And I'll be honest with you, I think Dalvin Cook is a really, really good back. But I was having a conversation with a Bucs employee. I'll leave it at that. and I said there's really like 5 or 6 running backs. Now I was counting, Christian McCaffrey in there too. I think about it at 7. There's 7 running backs in this draft that I would really, really see fitting in well in Tampa Bay. And just got a smiley face, back. And it's like that tells me that assumption I made was correct. There are a lot of running backs that the Buccaneers like. It's not just the Dalvin Cook show. Yes, he is a fine back. I like Dalvin Cook, not as much as Mark Cook for obvious reasons. But
there's a thing to running backs, though. Like you just said, no, this is fine. Like you said before, we got some Kareem Hunt love in the chat.
Won't be a video conference, but we're getting O.J. in just 2 minutes.
Okay.
So he'll be here tomorrow before halftime.
Okay. O.J. Howard press conference tomorrow at 1 Buccaneer Place.
So
Yeah.
we're going to confirm time. But
Yep. And speaking of tomorrow, we're going to be back tomorrow, 7 o'clock, doing this all over again. This has been fun. This has really been enjoyable. The comments from you guys, the questions. Ruben Foster.
Brown just traded back in.
Yep, Ruben Foster.
Oh, they're totally taking Kaiser, right?
Cowboys will draft Jordan Willis. I could see that, yeah.
Okay,
28.
so I think Taco's going to the Bills here. Jordan Willis is going to Dallas. Is that what you guys just said? Is that you're guessing, or is that?
I think it's a guess, and I think it's a good guess too. They like him.
Yeah, I think they do too. And Cleveland just traded back in, so they're gonna take Kaiser. Oh man, I was so close. I had Kaiser going 32 to the Saints in my final mock draft. Man, I was close. I was close on quite a few things.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. Yeah, but like you were just saying. Oh, hold on, Bills. Let's make sure here. Oh, they picked Tre'Davious White.
Cornerback. Oh shoot. They needed a corner. They got one.
I don't love Tre'Davious White.
I don't either.
I don't love him.
Yeah, I like him. I don't love him.
I think Quincy Wilson's better, and that's not just the Gator in me. I do think Quincy Wilson is a better corner. So, and there were probably a couple guys that I actually would have taken over Tre'Davious White if you're taking one in the first round. But
the Dallas Cowboys here, I do know they like Jordan Willis.
Yeah, we got some other pass rushers. T.J. Watt too, still there.
Yep.
T.J. Watt's definitely an option. Charles Harris went where? Where did he go? Did he go to the Dolphins?
Yes, that's a great pick for the Dolphins.
Yeah. We heard some top 10 love for Charles Harris, but Taco to the Cowboys. That's what Chris is saying.
I could see that too.
So that might. Chris is saying the Browns are going to take Njoku. Man, Chris, you're ruining all the fun. I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. We're all figuring it out. If you got a Twitter, you basically know it anyways. But that's what I was going to say, guys.
Well, it hasn't been announced yet.
Guys, this has been so much fun for us, and I can't believe that we're at pick 28 already. I feel like we just started this thing, and I know it's going to be a long night because we got some writing to do and all that kinds of stuff. We still have O.J. Howard who's going to come and talk on a phone conference call tonight as well as the in person tomorrow. But I'm just kidding, Chris. I'm just kidding. But thank you guys. This has been so much fun. We're going to be doing it all weekend long. The second, I think it might almost be more exciting for the second round or for the second day because these are really where you make and break your team.
And I'll tell you a little inside poker here.
Bye, Shannon. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Don't leave just yet. The Buccaneers did trade up back in 2013 to get Doug Martin at pick number 31.
Oh, they did.
So, yeah, they did.
They did.
I don't think it's going to happen, but
You're right.
I didn't think it was going to happen back then either.
You're right.
So if the Buccaneers like a player, Jason Light does, after he makes that first pick, he likes to do a little trading.
Second round prediction. Are you about to give us one, Robert, or do you want us to give you one? Because we got way too many picks between now and then to kind of give you a prediction.
Yeah.
I think, obviously they take tight ends, so cornerback, safety is still an option. Wide receiver, I think could still be an option.
Well, I'll tell you
Depends which running backs are there.
Last year, and we had Emmanuel Ogbah as our Bucks' best bet at defensive end. And I wanted to put Noah Spence there because I know they like Noah Spence.
Yeah.
They liked him a lot at the Senior Bowl. We haven't had him in our mock draft, in one of the mock drafts last year. The problem was I didn't think Noah Spence would make it past Cleveland at the top of the second round. So sometimes it's like, are you going to put a guy that you think may not be there?
Right.
And of course that even happened this year with Adoree Jackson. He wasn't there, but I put Emmanuel Ogbah to the Buccaneers.
Adoree Jackson went before O.J. Howard.
Adoree Jackson's a hell of a good player.
I know, man, but that's kind
Jim
of
Thorpe
crazy.
Award winner. Yeah,
you're right.
And Tampa Bay liked him.
He's going to be it.
But they made the right pick. I mean, honestly, the Bucks. Honestly, if O.J. Howard's there and Adoree Jackson, you take O.J. Howard.
I think if I think if O.J. Howard is there and basically everybody other than Mike Williams, Myles Garrett,
Charlton
to Dallas.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. We getting that confirmed. That's not bad. I don't love Taco, but
I'm not a big
but
fan.
he's got to go to a 4-3, right?
Thanks, baby.
And
get a little love from my wife.
Oh, jeez, you gotta clarify that because I thought you were either like talking to somebody on the chat or you're talking to me, and that's just
I'm getting text from her.
All right, that's okay. Thank you. That's a little bit better. She say you were doing a good job. Is she watching?
Of course, yeah.
All right. She's just watching because of my hair, man.
Yeah,
that's the only reason she's watching.
Yeah, man bun.
I do like this pick. Hold on, let's hear it and make it official. God, they boo him every time, don't they?
They do.
There you go. His real name's not Taco, by the way. It's a farce. You've been fooled.
It's burrito.
It's just
I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Oh man.
I got to admit, the player I like at Michigan is Delano Hill, the safety. Not a fan of Jabril Peppers. Not a fan of Taco Charlton. I like Chris Wormley.
Chris Wormley's definitely my
he's a very
favorite
good player.
Michigan defensive player.
Yeah.
But I like Peppers more than you do, which is weird because at first I like
Justin
Peppers
Evans,
less than you.
Robert Jones, Justin Evans, he is in play.
Justin Evans, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we've heard some Justin Evans love.
Yep.
I'm a little wary of it personally because I think he's another J.J. Wilcox. I think you already have that same player, just has been in the NFL for 3 years. I don't think Justin Evans can play free safety, so I'm not really sure how much I would like that pick in the second round. Obviously, all depends who is there, but I just think that we're going to have some gems who are still going to be there in the second round. The Browns are up. The pick is in. I think we know that this is Njoku, correct? Trevor, next Gator off the board. If Marcus May goes before Quincy,
I could see that.
I can't say that I would be shocked. I think Quincy is a better prospect, but I can't say I'd be shocked at this point. Buddha at 50 would be amazing. If they somehow ended up with, in whatever fashion, whether it's a trade up early tomorrow or what have you, if they ended up with O.J. Howard and Buddha Baker,
I don't see how Buddha makes it to 50 though. I just don't.
But what if they trade?
Yes.
Like what if? Would you say it's worth it? Let's say we slide a little bit and we're like around pick number 8, 9, 10 in the second round. And you got to give up your second round pick, your third round pick, and a fifth round pick, and you get Buddha Baker. You do it.
I like Buddha a lot.
I do it. I would do it 100% for that.
And I'll tell you
your
what,
draft haul to be O.J. Howard and Buddha Baker, it doesn't matter what's behind you.
I'll tell you what, we've talked about this before, and here's the thing. The sign of a good draft is getting 2 impact players.
Yes.
Out of 5, 7, however many picks you have.
Yes.
2 impact players. That's what you need for it to be a damn good draft. Now, you can go back and look at probably the 2 best drafts of all time. 1995, you get 2 Hall of Famers, right? In the first round, you get Warren Sapp and then Derek Brooks. In 1997, you get Warwick Dunn in the first round. You get Rondé Barber in the third. 1996, you get Mike Allstott in the second. You get Donnie Abraham in the third. There have been those types of drafts. So, yeah, I mean, this team needs more than just 2 or 3 players in this draft. But to have a chance to get Buddha Baker, and I'm a big Jimmy Lake fan, the Bucs' former defensive backs coach. He was the assistant defensive backs coach under Raheem Morris. And when Raheem was the head coach, he was the DB's coach, and he, coached Rondé Barber a lot and loves him. I mean, who doesn't love Rondé? And, I had a conversation with him, and he said, this guy is a faster, bigger Rondé Barber. He's about 10 pounds bigger, and he runs faster. He has got the fearless physicality that Rondé has. Rondé was an incredible tackler, over 1,000 tackles from the cornerback position. He's got the instincts. He's got the football IQ.
Yeah.
He is a gym rat. He's the second fastest player at Washington behind John Ross. So
if you got a chance to do it, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I'm and somebody asked me this earlier, and somebody actually asked me this in relation to Dalvin Cook.
Couple good questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cox, Gators late round from Robert Jones. Brian Cox, they go defensive end there?
Yeah, I mean, Brian Cox isn't getting picked before the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah.
So, late maybe.
Josh, would you? Trevor is such a millennial. Put the phone down, son. Listen, he's not on here, on Tinder or anything like that. He's actually working. I'm watching. He's on Twitter.
I'm not playing like games or texting my friends. I'm trying to get this info for you guys.
Yeah.
Trying to stay informed.
It's not midnight yet. Trevor, does the pickup stuff after midnight.
Right,
so
yeah.
We got about 33 minutes left.
Come on. You got to get a little bit of
Hoping
time
we
for that.
snag Godwin tomorrow and best available running back in the
Godwin's
third.
another one, man. Godwin, Curtis Samuel, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep.
Those are all guys.
I was saying it. Didn't I say earlier? I said Juju Smith-Schuster is a Trevor Sikkema guy. So big, physical receiver. I mean, I said physical like along the likes of Keyshawn Johnson, where he'll just beat you up on the perimeter.
And I mean, look at a scenario where Juju Smith-Schuster who is...
Here's the Browns pick.
Oh, here's the Browns pick. Is Njoku?
Are they going to draft the quarterback? Are they going to go Deshaun Kaiser? Let's see. Njoku. David Njoku.
Yeah, what a pick at 30 or at 29.
So the New Orleans Saints are coming up at 32, another NFC South rival.
Yes.
We got a couple picks before then.
Yes.
So the Saints have gotten a cornerback, right?
They got Lattimore,
Marshawn
correct?
Lattimore.
Yep.
They need defensive end help. Did they go Jordan Willis?
Ooh. Jordan Willis and Cam Jordan on the same line would just be like just a strongman competition.
Yeah.
That would just be a bully fest.
Or did they go for someone like T.J. Watt?
Or do they pick Reuben Foster?
Yeah.
Foster's still
Wow.
there. They need a linebacker. You could have very well justified Foster being a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
At 32,
Yeah.
you're basically saying, who cares?
That's a steal.
You know?
Yep.
Imagine getting Marshawn Lattimore and Reuben Foster in the same draft class. That would be crazy to me. I do like Juju Smith-Schuster, by the way, and I'm just going to go back to that point real quick. Kid's 20 years old. Obviously has a ton of confidence, a ton of potential, but it's a good situation if he were to somehow go to Tampa because he's not going to get drafted as a number 1 wide receiver or even really a number 2. He's going to be able to come into his own and really, like, as Deshaun Jackson starts to fade maybe in 2-3 years, as we're really seeing that, you could really easily transition a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster who would be 2 or 3 years into the NFL and still only be 22, 23 years old. And I think that's a really good situation. You're keeping the offense as dynamic as it can be.
Yeah.
You're not letting it go down at all. Boy, that offense would be young, and the potential would be through the roof if they got somebody like that. So, I don't mind it.
That's a great point. That is a great point.
Don't mind it at all.
Dalvin Cook, is he going to slide to the second day? You have Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
You've got Chris Godwin, Buda Baker, Jordan Willis. They're still...
Saints need to go punter. Please pick a punter.
Well, and see, this is why the Buccaneers were contemplating trading back. And I don't know if the phone just didn't ring for Jason Light or if he just said, hey, turn the phone off, we're picking O.J. Howard. I think that's probably what it was. But yeah, to have O.J. Howard fall to 19, it took the Bucs' idea of trading back off the table, and rightly so. But you had a pool of players there, and you still do, that we know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have an interest in. And now those first-round players they would have taken at the end of the first round are sliding into the second round and joining the likes of the P. Ryans and the Marlon Macks, the Chris Godwins. And
Chris Godwin's still there. There's going to be some good
Yeah.
players there. We talked about 3 wide receivers going top 10, right? I think 3 went top 10 because Ross went to the Bengals.
Right,
And
yeah.
we're still talking about these receivers in the second
Yeah.
round as guys who could
Forrest
be really
Lamp.
great.
possibly in the second round.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
How's he still here?
Yeah.
Weird. If Forrest Lamp was a situation where, I'm not sure if I said this already earlier, but
Packers need a running back with that first pick.
they do. No, I was going to say, I can't remember. Oh,
The San
Forrest
Francisco
Lamp
Packers taking Cook for sure tomorrow.
at 1? I'm sorry, so like second round? Because they're at the top, right? I believe so.
Who? Packers?
Yeah. Or are they number 2? Because they traded with the Browns. Or, yes, they traded with the
trade
Browns.
back with the Niners.
Where is that? Now I'm getting
Right,
confused.
the pick is in. Sorry, San Francisco traded a second and fourth round picks to Seattle to move up to the 31st pick.
Okay. So
Okay?
they're taking Lamp.
Yes, Seattle would be taking Forrest Lamp, I would think.
They've got to be.
Or are they going to take Dalvin Cook to replace?
No, Thomas Rawls is good. They're not going to give up on Thomas Rawls.
Okay,
Wait, and
Well-
didn't they?
we'll find out in a minute. And they
Alright,
have a running
Steelers-
back,
Steelers
Alex
pick is
Collins,
in.
that I like.
The Steelers' pick is, I think, T.J. Watt. I think
that makes sense.
I think it's T.J. Watt.
That makes sense. So we have pick 30, then we've got 31, which is now the 49ers, and then we have pick 32, which is the Saints, and then we're calling it a night.
Oh wow. Do you want to know who the 49ers take at 31?
Yes.
Reuben Foster.
Wow.
What a draft for Johnny Lynch.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yep.
Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster, and some picks.
Yeah. Defense.
Man.
And it really said something. He passed up Jamal Adams, too. You know?
He did. The chance to take him.
Yeah. Giving a tribute now
Wait a second.
to
Who?
Dan Rooney.
Wait a second. Hold on. Did
Will Brinson saying John Lynch absolutely annihilated this first round. Nice work, rookie. Agreed. Steelers are going to select T.J. Watt at 30 here.
Oh man, I totally forgot this. Mike Clay works for the NFL, and I had a back and forth with him
Yeah.
like 2 months ago, and he said there's no way Tampa would take O.J. Howard, and I said I basically really politely, because I don't like to be a jackass on Twitter, and so I basically politely told him you're an idiot, sir, and I laid out for him. He was giving me a lot of statistics, like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, only this much percent of the NFL runs dual tight end, only this percent of the NFL does this and that, only these many teams do this, and I told him, look, you can give me all the statistics you want from the other teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
I know what Dirk Cutter wants.
Right. And you saw the look on Dirk Cutter's face in Mobile when
Yes,
he was watching O.J.
and he
Howard
tried to. Oh
abuse
man.
everybody.
Oh, this is like a dessert that's too rich. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's beautiful. It's not as good as the Corey Davis pick, but I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm feeling pretty good. All right, Bettis, we get it. Just pick
Well,
T.J. Watt.
We were talking about Dan Rooney.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that was rude of me. I'm sorry.
It's late. It's okay. You want to get onto Tinder or Tinder, whatever it's called. So we're going to have a story on pewterreport.com tomorrow about targets for the Buccaneers in day 2. So be sure to look for that. We'll be working on that. We're going to have O.J. Howard recap stories with quotes from O.J., from Jason Light, from Dirk Cutter. That'll be up on pewterreport.com shortly. Buccaneers off-season to recap on offensive side of the ball. Gosh, Deshaun Jackson, there's your speed, there's your explosive playmaker. And then you get a 6'6" road grader at tight end who blocked for the likes of Derrick Henry, Bo Scarborough, Kenyon Drake, who just happens to have a 200-yard receiving game in a national championship and run a 4.51 at 6'6".
Who is this?
This would be O.J. Howard.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
Yeah, so Jameis Winston, Dirk Cutter, awfully happy with just those two guys. And there's several Buccaneer picks to be made. The Bucs will draft another wide receiver. They will draft a running back. They may even double up. And I said that the Bucs like Michael Roberts.
Hey, dude.
And I had I can't remember if it was I think it was the one where we had David Njoku, that mock draft, which I think was number 3. Where we had Njoku going in the first round to Tampa Bay, and then Michael Roberts, I believe, in the 4th or 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a lot of flack for that, saying, "What are you doing grabbing 2 tight ends?" Probably the same people that thought the Bucs didn't even need a tight end because they got Cameron Brate.
Yeah.
But the thing is Luke Stalker, and we appreciate Stalker and what he does as a blocker, as someone who's versatile enough to play, that inline tight end position at the line of scrimmage, and also the fullback position. But the guy plays so hard, he does get banged up. Injuries have taken their toll. And right now, your depth chart without Brandon Myers, who's not coming back, Trevor, is Cam Brate,
Mm-hmm.
O.J. Howard, Luke Stocker. Then you've got Alan Cross, who's not really big enough to play
Yeah.
the tight end inline position, strictly kind of a fullback type,
Yeah.
which makes him a little borderline expendable.
I wouldn't count out taking another tight end.
I know.
It's a really here's
Well, if you do take Michael Roberts or another tight end
Mhm.
that you really, really like,
Mhm.
maybe it's Shaheen from Ashland,
Mhm.
okay?
who I don't like, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either, but I'm just saying, if you take another tight end here, another guy that can really block well and catch the ball, and like let's use Roberts as the example from
Okay.
Toledo.
Okay.
There's your 4 tight ends, and Stocker maybe has a year left, and then all of a sudden, your 3 tight ends are Cam Brate, O.J. Howard, and Michael Roberts. And for a team that likes to use 2 tight ends a lot, if you're going to do that, you have to have 3 tight ends. So I'm just saying, don't rule it out. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Somebody asked me above. Hold on, let me see it. It was up here. He said, "Hey Sikkema, why worry about being an ass on Twitter? It doesn't stop anyone else." That's a very good point, and you are very correct in that. But I don't know. I just enjoy always giving people the benefit of the doubt and not taking myself too seriously on Twitter because. I mean, like, at the end of the day, we're all just here to enjoy and watch sports, and that's just what it's about. So, not really about being, like I said, being a jackass on Twitter, but I do enjoy reveling myself when I get to be right in situations against people who are much higher up in the media than I am. So,
Well, I'd say this. He's trying to get verified. That's what it says about
who
you.
I am? Yeah. Once I get that blue check, just it's I'm throwing down on everybody.
I'll tell you
It's
what,
a good point, Ken.
It's so funny because I had a slew of people saying, like, you should get verified. You've got like 25,000 Twitter followers on the Pewter Report account, and I said, fine. If it matters to you guys, I'll go ahead and jump through the hoops to do it. So I put the picture of myself up there, changed the name to Scott Reynolds because they want like a personal account, whatever. So did that, got verified a week later, and I was like, oh, okay. But my kids were like, oh my gosh, you're verified on Twitter,
I think even I freaked out about it.
Well, I mean, it's nice, but like it didn't change anything. We still got like around 25,000 followers.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's cool. It's still
all right.
cool.
Okay.
Everybody thinks it's cool.
You kids and your
Yeah,
verified checks.
all hail the blue check.
Okay, here comes the 49ers pick. This would
It's
be
gonna be Reuben. It's gonna be Reuben Foster.
So,
They
who's it
named a
gonna
sandwich
be
after him.
for 32. Who are the Saints going to get?
I haven't seen anything yet. Did he just say Froster?
He said Froster.
Oh, come on.
It's late.
It ain't that hard.
It's a little late. But think about it though.
I believe.
Listen,
You want to know who the Saints take?
I'll tell you what. If I'm the Saints, I'm waiting until the team trades up. I'm burning all my clock and see if there's a team that wants to come up and get the last pick. Now, here's the interesting thing: Ryan Ramsey, offensive tackle, Wisconsin.
What about him?
That's the Saints pick. Ryan Ramsey.
Right. Yep.
Wisconsin.
Best
first
off
tier.
Might have. Some think he's the best offensive lineman in the draft, and whether it's a weak class or
Has
not.
Cameron Robinson gone yet?
Oh, Cam Robinson's still there.
Yeah.
Did
Has-
Forrest Lamp get picked?
No.
Did we just miss that? No,
we
we didn't.
So there's what, 2 offensive linemen
Forrest Lamp.
taken? Was there 2
wow,
offensive linemen
man.
taken? Garrett Bowles
Garrett Bowles and
Ryan Ramsey.
Ryan Ramczyk.
Wow. That's stunning. That is stunning.
Yeah. Whew. Man, some real good players left. Some really good players. People were asking me about Cook, man. They're asking me about Cook to the Bucs, and I know that Dalvin Cook is really exciting, but we talked about this, I think, last week, and in the Pewter Nation podcast too. They like Doug Martin. They're gonna. I think that they're gonna give Doug.
Well,
they like Doug Martin enough to not consider overdrafting Cook.
Yes, and they like Doug Martin enough to where they didn't consider Adrian Peterson.
Yeah,
To me, when they
for
didn't,
$3 million.
yeah, to me, when they didn't go after Adrian Peterson, that told me that there's going to be a place for Doug Martin on this roster in 2017. Now, let's see what happens because Doug Martin gets to participate in training camp. Doug Martin gets to go through the preseason and play in the games. Once the season starts, Doug Martin has to stay away from One Buccaneer Place for 3 weeks. No contact with the team. He can't train here. He's gone for 3 weeks. A lot can happen in those 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You can have an injury. You could draft a rookie running back, and he is going to be the heir apparent or the starter this year, whatever you want to call it. Jacquizz Rodgers could get on a tear and be motivated. Like, this is my chance to start. I'm going to run with it.
Yeah.
And Doug Martin.
Jacquizz Rodgers, man, I like him. He's
did
good.
Too. Yeah.
He is a great power back.
No nonsense.
He's yes. Falls forward,
Yes.
gets the extra yards, always does all those kinds of things, man.
Doesn't dance.
He is
miles ahead.
Jacquizz Rodgers is such a great low-end RB2,
Yep.
high-end RB3.
Yep.
But if you get him in some kind of situational role where you got him running power, first, second down even, I like him. I thought he performed well last year, especially down the stretch when they didn't have any other options.
Yeah, a lot of you guys tonight, I mean, I just got to say, you've been with us the whole gambit here for almost 4 hours.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with us.
Thank you. And some great insight from you guys and great comments and great questions. The difference between the 20th and the 60th guy is not very big this year.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Ken Grant.
I agree.
This class is stocked with day 2 talent, and I totally agree. And I think that's why Jason Light was looking to trade down to acquire more picks, but all of a sudden you got what I have to think has got to be a top 10 player on the Bucs board.
Who is this?
O.J. Howard.
Oh,
That when he
maybe even
fell
top
down,
5, yeah.
Yeah, when he fell down, you just said, you got to take it. Have to.
We got any final thoughts? You got anything like that?
I want to just thank the Pewter Nation out there.
Yeah,
our
seriously.
PewterReport.com followers.
You guys were awesome tonight, man.
This was great, and I want to thank Visual Realm and Kyle. Our website performed swimmingly well.
Thank you, Josh.
without any hiccups whatsoever. Hey, Cook, Sikkema, really thank you guys very much. I'm so grateful for you guys at Pewter Report. Hey, thank you guys.
Yeah,
Listen,
this was a lot of fun.
yeah, and it's going to continue tomorrow night,
Right,
too.
sure.
Day 2 is always better than day 1 because you get a couple guys. And really, if you look back at...
Well, maybe not a top 5 guy falling at 19 good.
True.
But a different kind of good. It'll
Yeah.
be a different kind of good.
But when you look at the guys that historically have been second-round picks,
Mm-hmm.
You go back to Mike Allstott in 1996.
Yeah.
Donnie Abraham in the 3rd round in 96. Rondé Barber in round 3.
Even recently is, right, Levante David and Ali Marpet,
That's right.
right?
Yeah, Donovan Smith. You can sit there and point out Austin Seferian Jenkins. You can point out Roberto Aguayo all you want, but the Buccaneers have done a pretty good job in the 2nd round in mining some talent. Thank you guys for the stream. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's get ready for day 2. Yep, absolutely great job tonight, guys. Thank you, Jason.
We're gonna have a
Aaron Sears says Ken Grant, and I think Savvy Piscatelli was the 2nd round too.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Not always great, but they found some really good talent in the 2nd round.
We're gonna have all of Jason Light's quotes up, all of Dirk Cutter's quotes up from tonight. We're gonna have the O.J. Howard interview tomorrow. We're gonna have our reactions of how we think O.J. Howard fits and exactly where he'll be. My cover 3, I'll tell you on Tuesday.
Thank you, Patrick.
It's going to be all about O.J. Howard. So stick with us throughout the weekend. Make sure you're checking out stuff
Thank you,
tonight and
Brian.
tomorrow. When are we going live tomorrow?
7 o'clock.
So 7 o'clock
Yep.
is when it's live tomorrow. And make sure you guys join us for that too, because we'll be in for all of it. Hope you guys are too.
Yeah.
Your questions and your reactions
Hey,
are just as great. So
Let your friends know.
yeah,
You had
absolutely.
a good time tonight. Have them jump aboard too. I think you can stream this from your phone. You can do it from your iPad, your
Anyway.
tablet, your laptop, your desktop, any platform. You can check us out tomorrow
Anything that
night.
has Wi-Fi, basically, you can get us from. So
Now, Saturday is going to be a little trickier because there's a multitude of picks unless the Buccaneers trade some away.
Sure.
4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks. That is typically, believe it or not, this is your first draft here, but that typically is the busiest day for us.
Oh, is it
because
really?
It's just they make a pick, and then you're doing a story, and then they got the conference call.
I'm ready for it. It'll be fun.
Yeah, we get to ask the players questions, and then all of a sudden they make another pick, and right when you're done with one, you're doing another one. So Saturday, we will try to do this wire to wire. It's going to be a long day because we're talking 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round.
We might have some guests.
We might. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
See you hanging around the building.
yeah, but we'll definitely be popping on and off if we're not doing it continuously live on Saturday. But tomorrow night will be continuously live, second and third rounds. And we greatly appreciate your support, Pewter Nation. Thanks for blowing up PewterReport.com tonight. We've had tremendous traffic, and we had, I think, over at one point in time, over 700 people
Yeah.
here following us live.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. So
Good stuff.
thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow night.
See you guys.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Pewter Report, at Tampa Bay Trey, at Mark Cook 1942.
1970.
19
I think it's 1970.
1917?
70.
Oh, 70. Oh, okay. I thought it was 17. 1917. The year he was born.
I think so.
Was he born in 40, 45? 1970. Sounds about right.
Just follow us on Twitter. You'll be able to find
Yeah.
us.
And be sure to check out PewterReport.com, the mothership, where you can read all of our content. And we'll have a story for you later tonight or probably first thing in the morning outlining who we think the Buccaneers will be targeting in rounds 2 and 3.
All right, guys. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Yeah, dude. That was great. Wow.
Let's see.